Giant Stadium. It's the Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets. Today's game is brought to you by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products. By Radio Shack, the computer experts. And by Michelob Light. You can have it all.
Good afternoon, everybody. Looking through the face mask of a football player. The weather conditions 54 degrees, partly cloudy. This is Charlie Jones. Bob Greasy, the New York Jets, won the toss. Uwe von Schamann will be kicking off for the undefeated Miami Dolphins with Bobby Humphrey and Kurt Springs, the D-backs. They just reversed into the sides of the field. The reason being is Bobby Humphrey, their key return man, has not returned a kickoff in some 2 weeks. And they guessed wrong. It'll be Kurt Springs. He's a good one, but not as good as Humphrey. And so we will set the offense for the New York Jets as they will go to work in their own territory at about the 17-yard line. Pat Ryan, in reality, his first year, 7th year in the league. Freeman McNeil, the running back, leading the AFC in rushing. Marion Barber, Wesley Walker, he still has the bad ankle. Lamb Jones, first game back a week ago. Mickey Schuler, the money-catching tight end, we'll be talking about that. McElroy, Waldemore, Fields, Alexander, and Powell. That is the offensive line. New York, first down. Walker coming in motion. Ryan to throw. Here's McNeil. He comes out to the 23-yard line. Bob Baumauer makes the tackle. Let's look at the defense of the Miami Dolphins. Basic 3-4 in their set. Doug Betters, Bob Baumauer, Mike Charles. We'll also see Bo Camper. He's back. Here are the linebackers. A.J. Dewey, number 77, will be everywhere. That is to confuse the offense. Brzezinski, Roan, Bowser, they round it out. Langford on the left corner. They'll be going after him. He's replacing the injured Don Menio. Judson and the Blackwood brothers. Second down and 4 following the gain of 6. Here's Pat Ryan. Just drops it over to Freeman McNeil. First down. 35-yard line. 12 yards on the play. A.J. Dewey and Paul Langford with the tackle.
One of the things the Jets want to do today, Charlie, is control the flow of the game. Try to keep their offense on the field. This is just like a running play. He rolls to his left as Ryan. McNeil slips out of the backfield, takes a little dink pass, and then runs for 7 or 8 more yards. Controlling the ball.
Jets, first down, their own 35-yard line. Lamb Jones wide to this side. Schuler comes in motion. Here's McNeil. 4 yards to the 39-yard line. Second down and 6 for the New York Jets. The key to the game.
They want to control the football, and one of the ways they're doing it, the play they just ran, these 2 receivers will hook. Ryan will roll this way. These receivers take off downfield, and McNeil right here will slip right in here. If the receivers aren't open, he'll dump it off to McNeil, controlling the ball with the pass.
That is the key for the New York Jets. New York in their own territory. Second down and 6. Ryan is good protection. Comeback pattern far side to Wesley Walker. Should be the first down at the 46-yard line. Paul Langford was the man that they were picking on. We'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the San Diego Colts ball game. Here we have no score. It's the New York Jets, the undefeated Miami Dolphins. 12:48 left to go. We're in the first quarter. Miami kicking off to the Jets. They started this drive at their own 17-yard line. Pat Ryan has completed 3 of 3 for 24, and he has moved out to the 45. Ryan sets up deep. Again, a ball control passing attack over the middle to Freeman McNeil. 49-yard line, gain of 4, second and 6. A.J. Dewey with the tackle.
And they're going to be seeing a lot of A.J. Dewey, Charlie, as you said earlier. Down as a lineman, dropping back into his zone coverage. Zone coverage, playing the man. McNeil gets the tip. A.J. is there and knocks him as McNeil slips under him. What we're seeing right now is a smorgasbord offense. 3 tight ends, 2 tight ends, 1 tight end, 3 wide, 2 backs. A mixture of offense.
McNeil, 3 receptions, 22 yards. Schuler in motion. Here's Freeman. Miami territory. The ball at the Miami 48-yard line, a gain of 4, so it'll be third down and a long 2. Let's check the scoreboard. Fourth quarter, the Bears leading 17-6. The Raiders with quarterback problems. They've been dropping like flies. Giants out in front of Dallas in the fourth quarter by 9 points. Final, San Diego 38, Colts 10. Overtime, Philadelphia and Detroit 23 all. Final, Pittsburgh 35, Houston 7. Fourth quarter, Minnesota 24, Tampa Bay 17. Final, Cleveland 13, Buffalo 10. Buffalo and Houston still have not won. Hit from behind. And a sack will be ruled. They're going to rule in the grasp and no fumble as Charles Bowser got the sack.
Bowser has 5 sacks this year. You'll see him coming from this side over here. Bowser doing very well from a linebacker position. Gets in and makes a sack, causes a fumble.
Fourth down and 14. The ball on the 42-yard line. And Chuck Ramsey with a 40.4-yard average will be kicking to Fulton Walker. Offense, Marino the Magnificent and the Miami scoring machine, Dan Marino, Tony Nathan, Woody Bennett, Mark Duper, Mark Clayton, Dan Johnson. And that offensive line, John Giesler, he's given up only 1 sack. Roy Foster, Stevenson, Newman, Cleveland Green, he'll be across from Mark Gastineau. The ball at the 32-yard line. Bruce Hardy in motion. Dan Johnson tight end. Big first down, 50-yard line. 18 yards on the first play. Kyle Clifton with the tackle.
What the Dolphins like to do, Charlie, is set up their run with their pass from the right side of your screen. You'll see Dan Johnson coming into the picture, but the Dolphins throwing first and running second. Right there, 87 is Dan Johnson. Zone coverage, splits him, gets a first down.
The ball at the 50-yard line. Woody Bennett. Bennett has 3 to the 47-yard line, New York territory. It'll be second down and 7. Defensively for the Jets, we'll see mostly the 4-3 set with Gastineau on one end and the rookie Ron Fro on the other, Klecko and Bennett in the middle. 3 linebackers, Greg Buttle. Clifton is starting for Bob Crable. He has that knee problem. Lance Mell, leading tackler for the Jets. Johnny Lynn, Russell Carter, the rookie. Interception last 2 ball games, Kirk Springs, Darrell Ray. Second down and 7, no score, first quarter. 9:45, time remaining in the first period. Mark Clayton, the intended receiver. Let's go to the key to the game for the Dolphins.
Really, there's no secret. They have to contain Gastineau. Cleveland Green is right here. He'll be blocking him, but he'll get some help from the tight end or the guard or the back on that side. Occasionally the center will come out. There's a lot of people over there. Occasionally Gastineau comes over to the other side where there's no back and no tight end. He goes one-on-one against Giesler. Now the left tackle in that setup, Giesler, obviously doesn't like it, but Gastineau comes over to his side.
And I understand that that Giesler's been talking with Eric Laxo, the right tackle, the injured right tackle, who has always played well against Gastineau. Johnny Lynn is the injured player. He's giving him a little advice. Is that right?
Exactly. He certainly did during the week. And about the best advice that Laxo could give him was stay square. Don't let Gastineau get you turned, because he has such great quickness and speed, foot speed, that if he gets you turned, then with his upper body strength, he can either run around you or knock you out of the way and get to the passer. I think an indication, Charlie, of the importance of this game as we look at Johnny Lynn being attended to is the fact that the 2 defensive tackles for the Jets have been injured. Both Joe Klecko, who had a hyperextended elbow, and Marty Lyons, who has been out the last few weeks, are both in there today. Of course, we don't know how long they're going to stay, but they're in there playing in this big ball game.
It is now a final. The Chicago Bears 17 and the Los Angeles Raiders 6.
And that's a big game for these Dolphins, because the Dolphins, even at this point of the season, trying to play for postseason home field advantage. 2 losses now for the Raiders. Of course, the Dolphins are undefeated.
Miami, by the way, has scored on 11 of their offensive possessions spanning the last 2 games. They now have a 3rd down and 7. 47-yard line of the Jets. And more in motion. Marino from the shotgun. There's pressure. Rolls away. Blitz coming from the outside by Carter. Incomplete. A little high for Mark Clayton, and he was all alone. Here at Giants Stadium, 9 minutes, 36 seconds. Time remaining first quarter. No score between the Dolphins and the Jets. And you are now going to see Reggie Roby punting, something that you do not see that often. He has punted the fewest times of any kicker. Only 25. This would be his 26th. And Marino has thrown 27 touchdown passes.
That's a rarity in this league.
They've taken the foot out of football. Kirk Springs is set for the return. Report on Johnny Lynn, a twisted ankle. He will return. Fair catch is called for and taken at the 14-yard line. Hang time exactly 5 seconds, 33 yards on the kick. Now let's go to the quarterback quote.
Well, Charlie, you know, the Dan Marino show has been off Broadway this season, going undefeated and playing to rave reviews. 2 weeks ago against the Patriots, the Dolphins got over a big hurdle by winning in Foxborough for only the 2nd time in 9 years. So as they say in show business, it was a hit in Boston. Will it play in New York?
And that's what we will find out today. I like your quote. Here come the Jets. The ball at their own 14-yard line. Ryan with time. Setting up deeper. It's good protection. It's dropped. Glenn Dennison, the rookie, played his collegiate ball at Miami of Florida, dropped it. 9 minutes and 22 seconds. That is the time remaining in a scoreless first quarter. Giants Stadium, as many of the games being completed around the country. Joining us for this telecast, the New York Jets moved the ball out near midfield, and then a sack took them back to the 42. The kick to Miami. Miami moved the ball, and then they punted.
I think defensively the Dolphins have been expecting the Jets to come out and control the ball running. The Jets have done that just the opposite. They're controlling it with the short pass. They'll get back to the running a little later.
2nd down and 10, 14-yard line. Going deep. Incomplete. Lamb Jones, the intended receiver. One thing that the Jets will do, and they did it here, they show you the deep pass. They stretch you in the first quarter. Also, they've been known to show you a little trick play, a flea flicker, that type of thing. And they may not come back with it till the 4th quarter.
And that's a good man to stretch the defense with. We call it stretching him vertically down the field. What that does is make the defensive backs be concerned about the deep pass and creates more seams and more areas to start throwing the short balls. That time, I think it's important to note they were going after Paul Langford, who is in there playing for Don McNeil.
And the Giants on a roll, leading Dallas in the 4th quarter, 19-7. Rams 3, St. Louis nothing first quarter.
Dolphins are all up there faking a safety blitz. They drop out of it.
Ryan, incomplete. Johnny Hector, the intended receiver. So it'll be 4th down and 10. Langford and Kozlowski had the coverage. Now here's the situation. Chuck Ramsey has not been kicking well. Miami can have excellent field position here. His first punt, 27 yards. Had a 17-yarder last week.
And there's really not much wind in this stadium, Charlie. At Shea Stadium, where they used to play, there was a lot. But here in Giant Stadium, not much wind today.
Miami showing 8 men as the rush. And they're all covered. He gets it off. Good kick. Taken at the 44-yard line, and it was a fair catch. He went up with it. Almost could have dropped a flag on it. We'll take a timeout. A 42-yard kick. 9:06 to go in the first, and we have no score.
Fans, I think the Jets lost an advantage, and the opposing team gained one by moving over to Giant Stadium.
You started thinking about playing in city, didn't
You
you?
sure did. And you know the kickers did, too.
Miami from their own 45-yard line, first down. Reno with the screen. Tony Nathan. Nathan has the first down. 16.
Tony Nathan, I think, has been playing as we look at this screen where the offensive line will slip out. Nathan gets a little block and then dumps it. Nathan has been playing better since Joe Carter has come back from his injury. Nathan does not have to bear the burden of the entire situation for the running back. He's got some help. He's the primary receiver.
Here's Joe Carter. Carter from the 39 to the 37, a gain of 2. It'll be second down and 8. Greg Buttle with the tackle. We're moving on the 8-minute mark, time remaining in the first quarter. Now, Miami has outscored their opponents 37-3 in the first quarter this year. The only points allowed in the first period by Miami, a 48-yard field goal by Tony Franklin of the Patriots a couple of weeks ago.
And Joe Walton is well aware of that. He has made his team well aware of it. He just wants to stay in the ball game and hope things will work out for him.
Hardy, incomplete.
Cleveland Green will have his hands full today, as we said, talking about controlling Mark Gastineau. He'll get some help occasionally. 99 is Gastineau, 74 is Green, doing a pretty good job by himself. Nobody helping him. Plenty of time for Marino to get rid of the ball. The Dolphins will mix it up. They'll give him some help now and then, but Green's going to have to do it on his own several times throughout the day.
Marino not starting that well. 2 of 5, 34 yards. Third down and 8. Gastineau jump. He is offside. Free play for the Dolphins. There it is. Matt Moore. Touchdown Miami, and it will stand up. 37 yards. On the drive in 4 plays.
What you're going to see is a double zone. The area down the middle of the field, there will be nobody in the middle. Nat Moore will come from the right side, get in the middle. Now, when Gastineau jumps offside, Marino knows he's got a free play, so it gives him the confidence to go ahead and throw this ball over the short people between the 2 deep safeties you'll see coming to your picture right there.
And for Nat Moore, that is the 60th touchdown of his career. For Marino, add one more, 28 touchdown passes. Von Shaman with the point after, and it is good. And so the Miami Dolphins striking through the air out in front of the New York Jets by a score of 7-0 with now 7 minutes and 38 seconds left to go. We're in the first quarter. To return the kickoff. So watch what he and Kirk Springs are doing. This is the first game that they've done it. Von Shaman is kicking off to our left. I'll keep my eye on him. See, there's the split. They're playing a guessing game. And it doesn't work. Kirk Springs is second kickoff return. Trying to get it to Humphrey doesn't work. 15-yard line. So now the Jets, trailing 7-0, they can stay with the game plan. Eddie Hill was down, making the tackle. The score is now a final, the Giants winning. Another final, Minnesota defeating Tampa Bay. Here we have 7:28 to go. We're in the first quarter. Miami out in front, and we'll be back. You can see the crown on the field here. Now, a moment ago, Bob Griese was talking about the fact that moving from Shea Stadium to Giants Stadium may be a disadvantage for the New York Jets because the opponent's always worried about that particular field. I'll tell you about this field in just a moment. New York from their own 15. Here's Freeman McNeil. He busts it to the 30. Freeman to the 40. Touchback. He'll be caught. Big play.
Joe Field, 65 on Bob Baumar, runs him past the play. McNeil sees it and cuts to the backside. It's off to the races now. Lyle Blackwood misses, and here we come. Great run by McNeil, setting up the Jets in the first quarter.
52 yards. Paul Langford finally got him. Officially 53 career high. 33-yard line of Miami. Johnny Hector, the remaining story on the field is that at the Jets training camp, they have duplicated this field, Giant Stadium, same turf, same crown, so that they could practice on the artificial surface at their training camp once a week on a field identical to this.
The Raiders have a field, Charlie, out at their practice complex. Runs the same way as the Coliseum as far as the sun is concerned. So you always get the sunset right.
Here's the reverse. Rocky Cleaver. He throws a pass off of it. Now that we call a Kleenex play. You use it once and you throw it away.
Well, it's like you were talking about as we have a penalty on the play too, Charlie. A little earlier, you said in the first quarter of their last two ball games, they have used flea flickers that if one was for a touchdown, the other one not so good, as we'll get the call here. Oh, they're still discussing it. Gordon McCarter.
Holding, number 68, offense, repeat, second down.
It's Reggie McElroy, number 68. Gordon McCarter, the referee. But in the last two ball games, they have used flea flickers early on. And what that does to a defensive team is you're a little bit hesitant. You're not as aggressive as you normally are when you know that you may be seeing some flea flickers from a team. And it's not a bad idea to show that early, just to get that little hesitancy on the part of the defense.
Miami leading by a score of 7-0. Dan Marino, his 28th touchdown pass to Nat Moore. For Nat, that is the 5th one he's caught this year. Here's Ryan. As a man that clears, McNeil, he's in the 35. Cannot slip the tackle. Lyle Blackwood simply wouldn't let him go. He got about 6 or 7 back, so it'll be 3rd down and still around 10 to go for the first down.
McNeil seems to be a little bit banged up. He's had some ribs, and he's had an elbow problem. They can ill afford to lose him. His elbow problem, it's been a problem, as you see. His elbows are wrapped. He got it a couple of weeks ago, maybe more than that, maybe 3 weeks. He fell on his elbow, and he really burst a sac. And the fluid gathers in your elbow, and he's had it for so many weeks that it's starting to clog up a little bit. My 14-year-old son playing junior high varsity, Jeff. Has the same problem. He just hasn't had it as long as Neil has.
But it's not painful.
He can play with it.
Ryan fires. This one, he's there. Touchdown, Jeff. Wesley Walker.
It's a big play for the Jets. The Dolphins have outscored everybody in the first quarter. A big confidence builder for Ryan. A great throw. And Walker, who drives the Dolphins nuts year after year, makes another big play. Shula said coming into this game, he is one player we have to take away from the Jets.
Pat Leahy. And we are tied at 7. That is the first time this year that an opposing team has scored a touchdown in the first quarter against Miami. We're tied 7-7, 5:03 to go. The Breeders' Cup in November, a day to remember. Yards in 4 plays, the 33-yard touchdown pass. It took just over 2.5 minutes. Pat Leahy will be kicking off to number 41, Fulton Walker. 5-yard line. 50. Returns near the 24-yard line. Now tied in the first quarter. It's the only time that they've been tied in the first quarter. They haven't been tied. Miami has not been tied that often anyway.
Only 3 times, Charlie, other than 0-0 at the start of the game, and that wasn't very long. They were tied twice against the Patriots, once for 3 minutes and 18 seconds, the other time for 1 minute and 49. The third time was against the Colts, and that lasted 27 seconds. So Marino and company, they don't like them close.
The quick strike offense of the Dolphins. Here it is into coverage, and it is incomplete. Johnny Lynn, injured moments ago. We said he would be back. He was there and had excellent coverage on Mike Clayton. Now, Clayton has made some great plays in that situation. Great catches, 5'9", but he is
Right here. He certainly has. Here's Lynn, who went out. Clayton will go straight down the field, and it'll be be a jump ball one-on-one. And the point you're trying to make, Charlie, getting to is Clayton. On these situations, Marino knows Clayton can go up and take the ball away. He throws it one-on-one, doesn't catch it that time, but it's not intercepted. It's a good throw.
Meanwhile, where was number 99, Mark Gastill? Quarterback always wants to know where he is. Good job by Cleveland Green. Second down and 10. Marino 3 of 7 for 72 yards. And the touchdown is Joe Carter. 2 to the 26. Third down and 8. We're in a third down situation. Now, Don Shula calls the plays on first down and second down. Marino calls this play.
He calls all the third down plays. Marino has a pretty good sense of knowing what he wants as we look at Don Shula. Shula will send in the substitutes. They go over ahead of time, whether you want 3 wide receivers or 4, or what mixture of players, and Marino has the feel and knows what he wants on third down. Called all of his plays in college and checked off a lot. He can handle it.
Tight end on the right side, number 11. That's Crash Jensen. Gastineau has moved to the other side. He's picked up by Geisler. Flag is down. Pass is dropped. Jensen, incomplete. There was a flag down. And we mentioned, and Bob showed you, that Mark Gastineau would also be coming from the right side. Procedure against the Dolphins, they'll refuse it. They will be kicking to the Jets.
What happened that time, Jensen, number 11, was in at tight end and was on the right side expecting Gastineau to be over Cleveland Green. As you said, Gastineau went to the offense's left side, and that is one time where the move from Gastineau from right to left really allowed him to get a better rush.
Reggie Roby will be kicking. This is the second time that he has kicked in this ballgame. We make that point because he has kicked the fewest of any of the punters in the National Football League. Kurt Springs set for the return. Oh, this is a great kick. Fielded at the 13-yard line. Hang time exactly 5 seconds. Springs did not last 5 seconds with the ball. He was decked a 62-yard kick, 3-yard return, and Eddie Hill was there to bring him down. Flag dropped up at the 40-yard line. While they check it out, let's check the scoreboard. It is against the Jets.
It was holding after the punt, so it'll be tacked on. They'll start even further back in their own territory. Joe Walton calls the plays for the Jets offense. He'll tell Pat Ryan, number 10, as he'll go into the ball game. But normally Bobby Humphrey to the right of your screen there on the right side will send in the formations by signal. And then Walton will send the player in with the plays.
Holding number 38 receiving team during the kick. Penalty enforced from the spot where possession changes. First and 10.
The holding call on George Floyd. We've got a timeout and a tie ball game. 7-7. Bowling continues next week on NBC at a special time. 1 o'clock in the East and 3 on the coast. 48 seconds, that is the time remaining in the first quarter. This is the 4th drive of the first quarter for the Jets. They started at their own 17, their own 14, and their own 15, and now at their own 7-yard line. So they have not had any kind of a field position to start a drive. Freeman McNeil is the remaining back. Ryan to the end zone. And he goes deep. And it is incomplete. Wesley Walker, the intended receiver. Paul Langford had the coverage. Now, you know that Walker has been bothered by that ankle injury, but not today.
And he's running very well. He hasn't played. He didn't play 3 weeks ago, and he didn't play the week previous to last week. Got in for a few plays last week. Only caught a couple balls, but he seems to be running very well here today.
And he always plays well against Miami, and Don Shula always worries about it.
In talking with Joe Walton yesterday, he said that they expect some special coverages towards Walker. Now, he's caught a touchdown already, and that was a good throw and good coverage by Langford on that play.
Walker, 2 receptions for 39 yards. You mentioned the touchdown. Career-wise now, 301. Freeman McNeil. And he is met at the corner. Doug Betters was there along with Glenn Blackwood.
Joe Fields has been in the Pro Bowl a couple of times. The battle goes on between he and Baumar. Fields, 65, ignores Baumar, pulls, gets a good block on Dewey, 77. Great play by that center, Joe Fields.
Joe Fields, number 65, was taken in the 14th round of the draft back in 75. They don't have that many rounds anymore.
Right.
And has twice been a Pro Bowler. Matt Ryan, 6 of 10 for 67 yards, 1 touchdown. The spotlight on Joe Fields. We have two of the best centers in the National Football League on the field today. Fields, Dwight Stevenson from Miami. Inside handoff to Johnny Hector. And he is stopped by Mike Charles. Are you surprised with that call?
Well, we've seen the Jets do that in previous games on third and medium yardage. The problem there, Charlie, was A.J. Dewey was moving back and forth as a defensive lineman. Normally he's a linebacker, but he was moving back and forth, and what that does is mess up the blocking assignments for those offensive linemen, thus the unsuccessful play.
Fulton Walker set for the return. Chuck Ramsey to kick. Miami should have good field position here. Taken at the 47-yard line. 3 yards on the return. A kick of 41 yards by Pat Leahy. And Marion Barber was down on the coverage. 2:44 left to go. We're in the first quarter, and we are tied. Miami and the Jets. We'll be back. In the AFCs, the Jets and the Dolphins. You saw this in the pregame show. Here it is again, 1982 championship game. A.J. Dewey picks it off. He goes in to score. The final was Miami 14 and the Jets nothing.
I'm sure all the Jet fans remember that play. I know the Dolphin fans do. The Jets had a great team a couple of years ago, and their spirits were very high. Dewey took it away from them.
We're back live, Giants Stadium. Miami first down, their own 49-yard line. This one is drilled. Mike Duper. Strong arm. We've heard the quick release, but that is a strong arm. 15 yards. Scoreboard, second quarter. New England 3, Denver nothing. 3-3 tie. Rams and the Cardinals. Seattle 3, Kansas City nothing in the second quarter. The ball at the 36-yard line. First down. New York territory. Tony Nathan to the 30-yard line, gain of 6. It'll be second down and 4. Let's go across the river.
All right, Charlie, you mentioned the score earlier as the Giants have won against the Cowboys down in Texas for the first time in 10 years. Here, Phil Simms, 53 yards to Lionel Manuel. Simms had a good day, 244 yards, 19-7. Both teams go to 6-4.
Thank you for the update, Bill, and so far it is a good day for New York. Giants winning. Jets are tied with the only undefeated team in the National Football League, but Miami is on the move. Here's Woody Bennett, former Jet. And he simply plows his way to the 16-yard line. Gain of 14. He has the first down. Greg Buttle with the tackle.
Just good offensive line blocking on the left side for the Dolphins. Just a straight-ahead blocking play. Woody Bennett, left side, over to get a piece of the tackle.
Marino has completed 4 of 9, 87 yards and a touchdown. 52 seconds time remaining first quarter. Fake to the first man. The give is to Joe Carter. Carter to the 14, and that's all. He'll just get a couple. It'll be second down and 8 as Greg Buttle and Lance Mel make the tackle. Scoreboard shows 49ers leading Cincinnati in the second quarter by 4, 7-3. St. Louis 10, Rams 3. They're also in the second period. Here we have 21 seconds and counting time remaining in the first quarter, and we are tied 7-7. Joe Carter has been averaging 7.4 yards a carry the last 3 games. Off to a slow start. Only 5 yards in 3 attempts rushing. We'll take the countdown. There it is. That is the end of the first quarter. 1 is in the book, and we are tied at 7-7. Game that dreams are made of. The undefeated Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets tie. As you look at the statistics, we open the door to the second quarter. Second and 8, 14-yard line. Jet territory. Marino fires. Incomplete. That's a great pass. That is a great pass.
He threw it the only place he could, Charlie, and that was low and away. Pretty good coverage on the secondary, but he had to throw it low to the outside, and that's where he threw it. Take a look at the blocking up the top on Gastineau, double-teamed, throwing it away.
Dan Johnson.
Johnson almost makes the catch. Clayton is going to do a little in and then break back to the outside. He slips. He's had a bad ankle. His traction may not be as good today.
They're down and 8, 14-yard line. 6 men in the secondary for the Jets. There's pressure. He's got him. And that is the confrontation as Dan Marino brings to New York City his campaign for the perfect season, and Mark Gastineau wants to stuff him in the ballot box.
That's very timely, very aptly put. We said going in, Gastineau was the key. It's Gastineau and Marino, what they mean to their two ball clubs. They're both on the field at the same time. That time, Gastineau got the better part of it. Top of your screen, 74 is green. The thing of Gastineau has great speed.
We'll be back.
Today's game is brought to you by GMAC, the financing people from General Motors. By Stroh's and Stroh Light, fire brewed for smoother taste. And by your Firestone retailers coast to coast. Come on, America, drive over to Firestone.
There was a fumble right at the end of the play. Klecko went by the ball. Dwight Stevenson recovered it for the Dolphins. So that means that Uwe von Schaman from the 29-yard line will have a 39-yard field goal attempt for the lead. And we have movement. Now, this game, and you can go back over the last several years, tippers do operate at a peak. It will be hard fought. Illegal procedure against the Dolphins. Any movement in that offensive line, once you're set, and you make a motion, that defense can come at you. I believe it was Klecko that time.
Left guard, number 57.
It'll be a false start.
Dwight Stevenson moved to the left guard. Jeff Hayes is the snapper, but Stevenson moved to the left guard, made a movement before the ball was snapped.
By the way, Jeff Hayes, the snapper, number 60. Happy birthday, he's 27 today. Now an attempt of 44 yards, and Uwe von Schaman has not hit this year. This far out, and he misses here from 44 yards away, so the penalty could well have cost the Dolphins 3 points. We're still tied. We'll be back. Hey, let's go back to your key to the game.
Gastineau sacked Marino. They were on the 14-yard line going in. They come away with no points. Gastineau wins that way.
New York from their own 27-yard line. Lamb Jones showing a little motion, and a tough block as he comes back inside. McNeil carries, and he moves across the 30, 31 or 32. Let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, at Candlestick Park, Jim Breach had given Cincinnati a 3-0 lead, but the 49ers struck right back. Joe Montana to Earl Cooper. He gets into the end zone. It is 7-3, 49ers. They move now into the second quarter.
And a lot of people feel that it could be the 49ers and the Dolphins in the Super Bowl.
Well, I think if the game was played next week, those are the two best teams in the league.
Ryan has pressure from behind, and the pass is incomplete. He picked up some good blocking. Miami had some good pressure behind him, and the Jets reacted well to it. The pass was incomplete, though. It'll be 3rd down and 5 at the 32-yard line. A comparison of the arms, Dan Marino and Pat Ryan.
Marino of course, has a strong arm and a very quick release. Pat Ryan is a gutsy player. In talking with Walton yesterday, he doesn't have a strong arm, certainly strong enough to throw the deep pass, but he's more of the medium-range passer. He likes him. He's a gutsy player.
There's pressure and he's sacked. Rodell Thomas got him. That is the second sack for the Dolphins. The Jets having problems on third downs. They're now 1 of 5.
42 is Lyle Blackwood. That's a safety blitz picked up. But from the other side comes Bowser and 54, Rodell Thomas. The Jets didn't have the protection down. Consequently, the blitz, the sack of the quarterback.
So that means that Chuck Ramsey will be kicking to Fulton Walker.
A.J. Dewey around that time, Charlie, moving him from linebacker to the defensive line. They were more concerned about Dewey and left Rodell Thomas untouched.
For Ramsey, this is his 4th kick in the ballgame. His average on his first 3, 36.7. Not that good. It's a pretty good one. Walker kicks it on the hop, fumbles, drops it, bounces up, flag is down, fumble, scramble for the ball. The Jets say they have it. Let's see what the officials say. Bruckner was down for the Jets. A 46-yard kick, 6 yards of the return. Fumble, New York's ball.
I think what you're going to have in addition is a clip on number 31 as Fulton Walker gets a lucky bounce. 31, as you saw, maybe Fulton Walker cutting inside. Eddie Hill with the clip.
Illegal block from behind, number 31 on the receiving team. Penalties offset, replay, 4th down.
So a lot of excitement. We'll just do it over.
Don Shula not clear. He knows that he knows where his clip was. Offsetting penalties is tremendous bad break for the Jets because they had the ball in good shape in the Dolphins' territory. Joe Walton can't be very happy about it either. As we look at Lamb Jones, looks like he may have a little bit of problem with his neck or shoulders.
Here's Ramsey's kick. Not as good as the last time. 35-yard line. 5 yards on the return. That'll be it. 41 yards on the kick with a 5-yard return.
Charlie, as you said a little earlier, there's no love lost between these two teams as we look at another flag. One of the offensive team, the punting team, downfield a little bit too quickly. Don Shula says, I don't want him to kick it over. I like where I am. But as you saw some pushing and shoving at the end of that punt, no love lost.
Ineligible downfield, number 94, kicking team. Penalty declined. 1st down the other way.
And so Miami has the ball on their own 41-yard line. Stay with us at halftime. Brent FL 84 will be updating all of the scores and highlights from around the National Football League. This has been almost upset Sunday working. 12:47 until we get to halftime. Miami and the Jets, they are tied 7-7. Reno complete. 46-yard line, gain of 5, 2nd and 5. Tony Nathan on the receiving end, and Lance Mel made the tackle. Today's telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Jets and the National Football League is prohibited. Let's check the scoreboard. New England 6, Denver nothing, second quarter. touchdown. 48-yard line of New York. Picks up 6. He needed 5. 2 more scores. Cincinnati now leading the 49ers by 3. Little upset working here today, second quarter. Seattle 17, Kansas City nothing. I think that score in itself, you could put that in the upset category, not necessarily who might win the game. Seattle would be the favorite, but I didn't think they would be that far out in front that early. Report on Fulton Walker, he was shaken up on that play with the fumble recovery. One of the reasons Kozlowski was in there. I think your reason was the best one, Bob. What do you bet? Here we're tied at 7. Let's go to New York City.
Charlie, you mentioned the score, so we want to show you what just happened in Kansas City as Seattle has now returned 2 Bill Kinney passes for touchdowns. Here's the latest as Keith Simpson goes 76 yards for the score. Earlier, Dave Brown had a 95-yard interception return for a touchdown. It's 17-0 Seattle.
Seattle, and they're looking for a playoff spot.
Their defense is really tough.
Here it is, second down and 4, 42-yard line. Marino, far side pass is complete. Little comeback pattern on the far side by Mark Clayton. Clayton has been scoring touchdowns in bunches this year. He's had a touchdown in every game except 2. In one of those games, he didn't play him.
Well, like we said, Charlie, he leads the NFL with 9. A good indication right there. It was just a simple down and out. He almost broke away from the defensive back, and if he could have kept his balance with his speed and running ability, maybe he could have went in to score. Wasn't a very high draft choice. 8th-round draft choice out of Louisville. And Albert Dubinion, the scout for the Dolphins, pretty good receiver in his day, was looking for someone else and found Clayton.
Clayton in motion. He also works out with the Louisville basketball team. That's the reason he can get up in the air and go after the ball. Tony Nathan, the ball carrier. That last play covered 14. This one from the 28. He'll mark it to the 20-yard line. Gain of 8. It'll be second down and a couple as Lance Mel makes the tackle.
Straight ahead blocking by the Dolphins. Stevenson, 57, with a good block on 59. Right up the middle. Kyle Clifton, number 59, is a rookie 3rd-round draft choice, playing in the middle of the Jets defense because Bob Crable, their good linebacker, middle linebacker, is out with a knee injury.
9.5 minutes to go, first half. 7-7 tie. Marino steps away, throws, deflected, intercepted, dropped. They'll rule it incomplete. Darrell Ray did not have possession of the ball. Had it in his hands, couldn't hold on.
Little pressure, making Marino move around a little bit. And talking with Joe Gardy yesterday, the defensive coordinator for the Jets, they don't think they're going to be able to get to him that often. If they can make him move around a little bit, they'll be happy. Had to move that time. The ball was tipped, almost intercepted. The breaks so far in this game, Charlie, have gone against the Jets. The fumble recovery was called back and they had to punt again, and also that one right there. The Jets are playing inspired football.
Marino has completed 6 of 13 for 106 yards and a touchdown. Here's Pete Johnson. Fumble. Jets recover.
Gets the ball knocked loose. We'll be right back.
Marino's quick release. Give me a demonstration.
Quick release is from the time you make up your mind to throw the ball to the time you get rid of it. Now that helps you get it past the defensive lineman so you don't get many balls knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It's not a strong arm. It's a quick arm that gets the ball past the line of scrimmage. Marino has it. A fellow that used to play in this town, Joe Namath, I think is the one that is remembered most for a quick release.
New York has the ball on their own 21-yard line. To the 40, flag it down on the play. He's down close to the 45-yard line, but there was a marker drop back at the 24. Langford with the tackle. They'll bring it back.
Joe Walton is saying, you took a fumble recovery away from me, now you're taking this run away from me.
Number 79, offense.
over there.
Yeah. 79 Marvin Powell is the man that was called for holding. I've been in this series, Charlie, having played for the Dolphins for a few years, and I know that when the Dolphins come up here, no matter what the record is, these two teams always have an intense, heated rivalry. The Jets have been looking forward to this game. The Dolphins have been a little tentative coming in. They wanted to get out in front. They haven't done that. They're tied going into the second quarter.
Freeman McNeil. This time he has met the line of scrimmage was the 11 after the penalty, and he has 3 to the 14, so it'll be second down and 17. A.J. Dewey with the tackle. Freeman McNeil, 7 carries, 74 yards rushing. Now he is the leading rusher in the AFC with 711 yards coming into the ballgame.
Dolphins were a little weak early on in the season against the run. They have kind of tightened that up a little bit with the return of A.J. Dewey and Ernie Roan to the starting linebacking corps.
8 minutes, 28 seconds, time remaining, second quarter, ball game tied, 7-7. Here's Ryan. He wants a block. He gets the block. 30-yard line. Freeman McNeil is the man he was pointing to. McNeil laid the block for him. Kozlowski made the tackle. A gain of 17. It is close to the first down. May have missed it by a foot. It was second down, third to come. Here we go, Bob.
I think the thing that is about Pat Ryan, not the great arm, but a competitor, a gutsy player. Marvin Powell calls him Mr. Guts, and Walton likes him because he gets this type of competitiveness out of it.
Kozlowski, the injured player, will be back. 79.
Dykes on the block of a George Roberts fumble. Freddie Lynn in the end zone.
Block of the punt. I threw that at you, though. You recovered well. The final, Jets won it 33-27. Third down conversions. Each ball club only 1 of 5. This is third down and 1. Over the top and a rolling. Johnny Hector has the first down. They'll mark it 32. We'll call it 33-yard line. That should be closer. And a first down. They use Johnny Hector, number 34, as we'll take another look at this. But they use him to break their tendencies to run on second and long when you expect him to throw.
Well, Hector is a very good runner and a very good receiver, as is McNeil, and they try to spot him in there to keep both of them fresh. McNeil, of course, has got all the yardage today.
And McNeil, not a bad blocker, as we just saw a moment ago. 32-yard line first down. There's the rushing comparison. Overthrowing Wesley Walker. It was a dangerous pass. A lot of Dolphins in the vicinity.
It's a square in from the left side. He threw it a little bit high. It took him a little bit long to get it inside. Ryan, I'm impressed with Ryan. He doesn't make any big mistakes. Or at least he hasn't really put the Jets in a lot of difficult situations.
Cincinnati 17, San Francisco 7, second quarter. Ryan has completed 6 of 12 for 67 yards, but he's on a cold streak right now. He's 0 for 4 his last 4 attempts. And he's a streak passer. You get hot and cold for him. We'll be watching that. McNeil, and he has dropped Mike Charles. Good defensive play. And a big one. This will be third down and long, 16, 17 yards.
Charles has really been playing well. Number 71 came into camp this summer at about 300 pounds. And they've weighed him in every day, and just last week he weighed in at 279. He's been playing in place of Kim Bocamper, who's been out for a few weeks with a busted ankle, who was just activated this week. But Charles has been playing very well, given the opportunity to play in place of Bocamper.
Third down, 16. New York 26-yard line, slot right side. Barber's the remaining back. He's there to block. He's looking for blitz. It's not coming. Ryan throws opposite side. Walker, he was hit. He'll be a yard short of the first down. Needed 16, got 15. Blackwood nailed him at that point. This is something normally you don't see. The veteran receiver, he'll get that first down for you.
Normally they know exactly where they're supposed to be. This time he was a little short. going down the field, breaks to the outside. The ball is right on the money. Good hit by Glenn Blackwood, not to let him get there. Coming in here, he'll be coming in down the field and breaking to the outside. Coverage, good throw over the front men, right where he should be, Glenn Blackwood.
4th down and 1. You do not gamble on your own 41-yard line. Chuck Ramsey will be kicking, and now Fulton Walker is back in as the return man. Fair catch taken at the 19-yard line. So we have 6:07 left to go, first half. A 40-yard kick and a tie ball game. 7-7. We'll be back in a moment. 6:07, time remaining, second quarter. Ball game tied. Miami 7, the New York Jets 7. This game has been tied for almost 19 minutes. This was complete. 40-yard line, first down. Mark Duper pulled it in. Darrell Ray made the tackle. Bob?
Just a little square in pattern. Now, Marino has an option to throw it to the short man or the deep man, depending on how the linebackers play. Here we'll see the wide receiver go to break straight to the inside. The back will come out here and hook, both about in the same area. He'll see if the linebacker that's dropping back, if Buttle 51 comes up on the back, which he does, he throws it over his head to the man behind him. Good read by a young, good quarterback.
Gain of 21, they mark it 41-yard line. First down, here's Woody Bennett. 2 yards to the 43 is second down and 8. Marty Lyons, bad ankle, bad shoulder and all, makes the tackle. Scoreboard shows New England and Denver now tied at 6-6 in the second quarter. And still another one, Seattle. They're running away from the Chiefs now, 24-0. We mentioned the fact that now, for more than 19 minutes, this game has been tied at 7-7. The reason we mentioned that is the only time that Miami has been tied for any length of time was in New England, and that was for 3 minutes and 18 seconds. That also was a 7-7 tie. Here's deep, Duper, intercepted. Darrell Ray, Ray back to the 30. Ray to the 40. His first reception, and we mentioned the fact it is a first down. More than 85% of Schuler's receptions are for either a first down or a touchdown. He is a money receiver.
And I think if I was a defensive coordinator, when I got to third down or near a touchdown, I'd be looking for it.
Miami 41-yard line.
Marino hasn't done many things wrong in his young career. It's hard to find fault.
But he doesn't hang his head. He doesn't get upset. He says, hey, we'll get him next time, right?
He'll be back.
Play action. Ryan will scramble for it. Waits for another block. The flag is down. He's got the first down if it holds. Now, he pointed for a block. There was nobody out there to block. That was kind of let somebody in the secondary wonder if somebody's going to come after him, wasn't it?
He was the field general, and he said, I need a block. I'm not passing anymore. I'm running. I need a block.
Holding on Reggie McElroy, we believe, number 68. Penalties have hurt the Jets.
Holding, number 68, offense, repeat, first down.
68 is right here. Take a look. See it right here. Let's see if we can see the holding on Reggie McElroy. Right there. It's a second holding penalty, one on each tackle, McElroy and Powell.
37-5. Miami, the least penalized team in the National Football League. First down and 20.
was a throw where he threw it where he had to. His man was either going to catch it. He wasn't open very much. Good coverage in the secondary, but if anybody caught it, his man was going to catch it. Good coverage by Langford.
Scoreboard shows St. Louis 13, Rams 3 there in the second quarter. NFL 84, of course, with all the scores and highlights at halftime. Here we're tied 7-7. Marino to Nat Moore, 37 yards. That came with 7:38 to go in the first quarter. Then with 5:03 to go, the Jets tied it up. Ryan to Wesley Walker, 33 yards. Ryan back to throw. Third time that Ryan has been sacked. Doug Betters got him this time. That is number 9 on the year for Betters.
Last year, Betters was the defensive player of the year in a lot of people's books. 75 with a little cross charge with A.J. Dewey. Runs over his man, gets in there for the sack.
And Ryan shaken up. Now, he had a concussion last week.
Well, you saw how Betters hit into him. He hit him low, not intentionally, but because he was cut at the very end, and hit him a little bit low. He may have an ankle or a knee problem. You see him walking off. Tough competitor. He went out of the ball game last week, as you said, Charlie, with a concussion and came in late in the ball game. O'Brien, the top draft choice last year, had to come in and play.
And here is Ken O'Brien. Ken O'Brien, part of the class of 83. Of those 6 great quarterbacks that were drafted, he has been the only one of the 6 that has not been a starter. He was scheduled to be a starter because, you know, the Studio 54 story, everybody knows that. But there's a great class of quarterbacks. He's completed 7 of 10 this year. He'll hand off to McNeil. Freeman just dances out to the 49-yard line. Mike Kozlowski makes the tackle. And Chuck Ramsey will come in to kick.
The ideal situation for a quarterback to come into the ball game. 3rd and 28.
3rd and 28. Do you get to call your own play?
Well, I always told Coach Shule, I said, send in that play anytime you want.
Ramsey to Walker. Chuck Ramsey, the kicker. Fulton Walker, the return man. Fair catch. 15-yard line. 36 yards on the kick. The Breeders' Cup Racing's $10 million day. That is next Saturday, Hollywood Park, live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. What a great day in racing, even without John Henry. Sorry that he can't be there, but we don't want anything to happen to that great horse because he has that injury problem.
Did they decide that he wasn't going to run?
That was the last report, yes. They said this morning that he's not going to. But it's still up. Now we have an update that he may run. He must have the same trainers they have in the NFL.
Exactly.
They'll find at the last moment.
Well,
They'll work him out on Saturday.
I hope he runs.
I do too. Miami from their own 15-yard line. First down. Marino. Here's the screen. And it is dropped. Nathan tried to save it with a one-hand grab. Now, we've seen Marino several times this year. They've dropped some passes on him, but he doesn't look as sharp. Is that because the Jets' defense is playing so well?
Well, the Jets' defense basically, Charlie, is sitting deep and not giving him anything cheap. They're sitting deep in zones and say, all right, complete some passes in front of us, but we're not going to let you get the easy scores, so therefore you have to take 10, 12, 14 plays. I think he's a little bit frustrated. I think the fact that it's a little bit cool down there, too, is affecting some of the Dolphins.
Second down and 10. see from your smile.
Well, it's a good time to call it. There's a change of possession, a big turnover. Walton called the play. I agree with it because if there's nothing there, which there wasn't, you just turn it upfield.
And you're still close enough. 2-minute warning, and we're tied 7-7. Let's see what the Jets can do when we come back. Neil, possible pass. Isn't that saying we have to trick the defense?
A lot of times when a turnover is just committed, the defense will come out and try to blitz or do something aggressively. That was a good call to take advantage of what the defense might have been given.
Loss of 3 to the 23, second down, 13. Ryan. A scramble for the ball. Schuler, the intended receiver, and then it was kind of kicked around in the air. It'll be 3rd and 13.
Excuse me, Charlie. 82 is Mickey Schuler. As you said, their bread and butter receiver. When they need to go to somebody, Ryan looks for him. Almost caught it. Almost caught by 3 different players. Laying on somebody's head. Nobody was meant to catch it. It hit the ground.
The second quarter, we have 1:55 to go in the second, is the most productive quarter this season for the Jets. And it's the only quarter that they've outscored their opponents by more than 2-1, 86 to 36. They have a chance to do that here now with 1:55 remaining. Johnny Hector. Close to the 15-yard line. That'll be about 8 yards on the play, and the field goal team will be coming aboard. Ernie Roan with the tackle.
I'm a little bit of surprise on that play, Charlie. It was 3rd and 14 or 15. A sweep to the right side. It kind of tells me maybe you don't have confidence in your quarterback by not throwing it down there. I don't know what Joe Walton and his staff knew about the Dolphin defense. Maybe they thought they could pick it up, but no question.
The kick from just outside the 22, an attempt of 32 yards. For the lead. It's there. And the New York Jets lead the Miami Dolphins by 3 points. The only time that Miami has trailed in a game was in the first game this year at Washington. I believe the score was the same, 10-7, and they trailed for 67 points. Came right back.
67 seconds.
67 seconds, I'm sorry.
Obviously, they're unaccustomed to being behind, as we said, and we've talked about it before. When you play a team, the Dolphins are playing the Jets in your own division. You play them twice a year, every year. The team, like the Jets, are not necessarily that impressed with your undefeated season. They know you very well because they play you so often. So they come out, they have you in their own backyard, and they say, come on up here. It's going to be a little bit cool. The weather's probably now in the 40s. It's a little bit cool. Marino's, the ball may be slipping on him a little bit. They say, when you come up here, we're going to play you, and we're going to play you tough.
And they are doing that. And we really haven't seen what has been the quick strike offense of Miami. They had the Jets defense playing exceptionally well.
Playing soft, playing deep. You saw those numbers for Marino, 7 of 17. 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Pretty anemic numbers. The 1 touchdown pass he did throw early in the ball game was a 2-deep zone with the middle of the field open, and Nat Moore got down the middle. Since then, it's all been 3-deep zone, nothing cheap.
That came almost exactly midway in the first quarter. Walker deep in the end zone. He'll down it. They'll start at the 20. Last 3 possessions for the Dolphins. Fumble and then 2 interceptions. So let's see what they can do now with 1 minute and 14 seconds to go in the first half. And the Jets leading by 3, 10-7. And this, in reality, from here on, is the first time that Miami has been tested.
Well, they're on the road. The last time they were on the road on a Monday night game up in Buffalo, it was the closest game they've had all year.
Joni Nathan, 2-minute offense. Lance Mell and Ken Schroy with the tackle. 7 yards to the 27, second down 3. Reno steps away. He has the first down. He'll slide. same as Joe Namath had. I think this is a newer edition. It's a little lighter.
He's got bad knees, but he got good brains to get down. The crowd here in the Giant Stadium wanted to see Dan get a hit, but smart to get down. Wears that brace as a preventative measure. He had surgery in the offseason. Doesn't really have any problems with it, but just wears it as a preventative measure. Talking on the sidelines now with Don Shula, the offensive coordinator, about what the team, what the Jets have done in this situation in the past, and consequently what we like to do. Now they're doing the same thing on the other side in reverse. Ralph Baker with the headphones on, the linebacker coach, talking to Lance Mel, 56. Joe Walton, the head coach, is getting there a little bit. He's mostly offense, but he's telling them, sit deep, don't give them anything cheap, but don't sit too loose.
Offensively, Miami will have Mark Duper, Nat Moore, Mark Clayton, and Jim Jensen. Jensen will move to tight end.
Jensen has been playing some tight end. Joe Rose was injured a few weeks ago. Jensen is playing a little bit more than the ex-quarterback, now playing some tight end, wide receiver, what have you. He's been in there a lot, taking care of Gastineau. He's looking for Gastineau most of the time. Also, he gets into the pass pattern now and then.
Gastineau does have 1 sack in the ballgame. That was early on in the ballgame. He now has 17 and a half. Bubba Baker is the NFL record 23. He's going for that. First down. 44 seconds. Time remaining first half. And Gastineau has gone to the right side. He's now the defensive right end. And John Geisler was looking for him. He saw him. He took the step too soon. And I don't blame him. But just by changing positions, he picks up 5 yards.
Well, you said it right. Gastineau came over.
Number 79, Walker.
False start on 79, Geisler. We were saying before, Geisler says, I wish Gastineau would stay over on his own side. I've been playing these Jets for a lot of years, been very comfortable over here blocking on Bennett or Farrell, the rookie, whoever.
Klecko when he was over there.
Klecko.
Yeah. I don't see that big number 99 over
Now,
there.
this is pre-called. Now, see, he's coming. He's going to fake it. Now he's going back and forth. This is called from the sideline. Joe Gordy, defensive coordinator, calls it on the sideline.
And Vin Rudolph goes to the other side. First at 50. Tony Nathan stopping the clock now with 37 seconds. He goes to the 47-yard line, and that should be enough for the first down. George Floyd was there for the defense. It is a first down. Jets leading by 3, 10-7. The Giants won today. Is there an omen in the apple, would you say?
The Jets are playing well. This is the home of the New York Giants, and of course the Jets since they moved over.
Tony Nathan, 3 receptions for 36 yards. And now we've got jumping. What has happened? Miami doesn't do this. Very controlled. They don't make mistakes. Least penalized team in the NFL. Wide receivers are moving before the snap.
They're losing their composure. They're on the road. It's a little cool. Clayton is a young player. He has played unbelievably well. Has all of the receivers. Clayton is a second-year man. Duper is second year. Marino is second year. They've done nothing but good things for a year and a half. They're making some young player mistakes.
And you expected to see what you would say, you could almost call them rookie mistakes to define them. Inside of parentheses, you...
Encroachment, number 83, offense. Contact before the snap.
You expected to see that maybe early on in the season. Not at this point. They're 9-0.
Well, the thing is, Charlie, they play with such confidence. They've been ahead all the time. They have always been ahead. Shula has done a great job with the discipline of these young players. But now they're in it. They're taken out of their element. They're a little bit out of it. It's cool up here. It's not cold. It's cool. They're behind. It's a night game. It's artificial turf. And they're finding this Jet team is not impressed with them. So they're a little bit out of their element. They're not as confident. They're making some mistakes.
What about the crowd noise? Does that affect?
Oh, most definitely.
The stadium does holds the noise well. First down, 15, 42-yard line. Miami in their own territory. Incomplete. Had it, was falling, and then was hit by George Floyd. Did not retain possession. It will be second down and 15. Mike Duper.
Duper gets hit pretty hard. Take a look. Got to have the ball and his feet. Dean look, the back judge right there, number 49. Of course, the ball comes out.
And a flag dropped back at the 32-yard line as Duper is being checked out on the sideline.
Illegal use of hands. Jam to the chin. Number 79 on the offense. 3 feet first down.
John Giesler, a little jam to the chin. Was that on Gastineau? Was he on that right side?
I didn't see which side he was on, but the offensive linemen are allowed to extend their hands on pass blocking, but not to get in the face of the defensive man.
First down at 25. Tony Nathan. 30-yard line. 21 seconds and counting. Now the Dolphins have an incredible, flags are flying everywhere, have an incredible record for the past 4 seasons when they've led at halftime. When they've led at halftime, they have won 29 times and lost only 1 game. So the Jets here, another advantage. And now you're into almost a mind game of numbers, as we'll pick up the call, is that if the Jets can lead, hey, you know, now we got a whole different story going.
Encroachment. Number 73, defense.
Joe Klecko.
Now, don't tell that to Don Shula, and don't tell that to Joe Walton right there. They know that just because you're down 3 points or ahead 3 at halftime, it seems to work out that way. This man right here, Don Shula, has to go in at halftime and get his charge fired up again. They are intimidated right now. The crowd is against them. The Jets are playing well, and they're making some mistakes they haven't made in 5 or 6 ball games, but they're making them. Now they go into halftime, and Shula's got to get them back on track.
And Joe Walton says, hey, do the same thing. We've got him. We're playing well. He made the statement to us. We have to play the game of the year. They have done it so far. There's pressure, and it is incomplete. Russell Carter went up, did not deflect the ball. Jimmy Cephalo is the intended receiver. It's incomplete. Marino has been held by the Jet defense 8 of 20. New York playing a great ball game.
Charlie, even when Gastineau doesn't get there, when Marino calls the play, he always tries to leave somebody, a tight end or a back, over on that side to help out. Now that's like putting an asterisk on the formation or the call. He'll call the play in the huddle, but he's always thinking about that man that's over there. Is he coming? Is he going? Marino
Where
off.
is he? Is he going to be to my right or my left?
Exactly. So Marino's a little bit off, and it's not necessarily Gastineau sacking him, but it's just over there getting close.
Miami has converted only 1 of 5 third down opportunities. Tony Nathan, and they won't do it here. Close to the 50-yard line. 4 seconds is the time remaining in the first half. With 4 seconds remaining, you're right at the 50-yard line. It's going to be 4th down. Why not go deep?
I think they will. I think you'll see the alley-oop. The time will run out. It's 4th down. There was no way the Jets will take over possession. The ball will be thrown downfield. You're hoping for a completion, touchdown, or an interference.
Any kind of a defensive penalty, you cannot end the half on a defensive foul, so then you'd get another opportunity. Play time runs out in the first half. The ovation for the Jets. So an outstanding first half for the New York Jets. They lead the only undefeated team in the National Football League, the Miami Dolphins. Halftime, the score, the Jets 10 and Miami 7. First half, the flashing number 3. 2 interceptions. 1 by Darrell Ray, 1 by Russell Carter. Carter now has an interception in the last 3 games, including this one. Fumble recovery by Joe Klecko. 3 turnovers.
The numbers for the Dolphins aren't very different from what they've been doing in the past. They just have made some turnovers and haven't scored the points. The Jets are doing pretty much what they want. The rushing is more than their passing, and that's normal.
And for Miami, the second quarter has been, as we look at a scoring summary, has been their most productive quarter. Clyde prior to this game outscoring their opponents 115 to 48 points. This is the first time this year that Miami has been shut out in the second quarter.
And in talking with Joe Walton yesterday, he knew all those stats and he knew all those numbers, and you can be sure that the rest of the team knows them now.
Here we go with the second half. Pat Leahy kicking off to Fulton Walker, and Miami will start their offense at their own 20-yard line, 1st and 10. The report on Johnny Lynn with that injury that he will be out for the ball game.
That'll be a blow for the Jets, Charlie, because Bobby Jackson, who is normally the left cornerback, is already out. Lynn had moved over to that spot. Now we'll have to go with Davlin Mullen, the third cornerback at that position.
The Miami scoring machine has been in a stall. The stall courtesy of the Jets. Going deep, Duper's there. He's open. He has it. The Dolphins, they're back. 25-yard line. Kirk Springs stopping Mark Duper.
Duper's a little slow in getting up. The Jet that's injured on the field too, but
We'll take an injury timeout as the Dolphins come out winging. Jets lead by 3, 10-7. We'll be back.
Game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Atra from Gillette, the essence of shaving. And by IBM.
The curtain raiser of the second act. As we start the second half, 54 yards, Marino to Duper, and here's a busted play. Marty Lyons was the injured Jet, and the report is that he is okay. Now, what is not okay is this stalling offense of the Miami Dolphins. They are sputtering.
well, somebody made a mistake. Either Marino turned the wrong way, or Woody Bennett, the fullback, went the wrong way, because Marino went one way, Bennett went the other.
And it's a loss of 2.
That long pass to open the second half, though, Charlie, they were helping Davlin Mullen, who was filling in for Johnny Lynn with the coverage, consequently left the middle of the field open.
28-yard line, second down, 12. Flag is down. It's high, and it is incomplete. Mark Duper, the intended receiver. Russell Carter had the coverage. Another Jet is down. Let's check the scoreboard. That's Russell Carter, the injured player. New England 13, Denver 6. They are also in the third quarter. St. Louis 13 and the Rams 10. They're in the third quarter. And here the score, the New York Jets 10. The Miami Dolphins 7 with 13:51 left to go in the third. So that means that we're a minute and 9 seconds
Joe Walton
into this period.
wondering what he's going to be doing if
Left side of the offensive, not setting 1 second. Repeat, second down.
Call was on the left side of the Dolphin offensive line not being set, but the problem for Walton is his cornerbacks. Carter injured on this play. Johnny Lynn is out for the ball game. Davlin Mullen is the third corner. He's in the ball game in place of Lynn, and Bobby Jackson is on injured reserve with a hamstring problem. Last year, Holmes went from the Jets to the USFL. So
And some talk that he would like to try and come back if he can work the
exactly. So when you
contract
can
out.
really ill afford to have problems in your secondary, Joe Walton is having all kinds of problems against the high-powered passing of the Miami Dolphins.
Let's see if it's his right ankle is the early report that was this. It's just folded back underneath him.
Just twisted it a little bit.
Now that leaves, according to the depth chart, George Floyd, 4th-round draft choice in 1982, and Ken Schroy. Those are the the other two, but then it takes you out of what, in addition to your normal set, it takes you out of what you can do when you want to go to 5 or your nickel and 6 or your dime in the extra men in the secondary.
And it also allows you not to play the amount of coverages that you would like to play. What they'll do now is they'll have to put one of the safeties, either Floyd or Sroy, maybe Fernando Burgess, in at safety, maybe move Springs, one of the safeties to play corner, and they'll just have to play 3 deep and just play off the receivers.
And we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
And this is your hometown station, WSVN, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
This is Charlie Jones, Bob Greasy. The score, the Jets 10, Miami 7, 13 minutes, 51 seconds. That is the time remaining in the third quarter as Russell Carter is going into the locker room. Meanwhile, Miami on that play, we mentioned the flag. They continue to make mistakes. And it is second down and 17. The ball at the 33-yard line. They ended the first half with a lot of mistakes.
George Floyd in place of Carter.
Second and 17. They'll have to get the pressure up front. It is incomplete. They got the pressure. The Jets feel they have to get in the face of Marino. That Marino has not faced a defense that's coming right at him.
Talking with Gastineau yesterday, he said they have to knock him down a little bit, rough him up, pressure him, get in his face, and make him throw before he's ready. Of course, everybody that plays the Dolphins feels that way. As we see Mel coming in, added pressure, has to get the ball away a little bit sooner. But the Jets would like to get that pressure up the middle in his face.
Third down, 17. Third down conversions, and look, the ball at the New York 33. Now, if they don't pick up any yardage, that would be the 40 or 50-yard field goal attempt. Uwe von Schaman has not hit one outside of 40 yards. That's the problem the Dolphins have right here. It's on target. Nat Moore inside the 10-yard line. A fumble picked up by the Jets in the lateral. The play not blown dead. Darrell Ray had it. Here come the New York Jets. Tackle. He had to make the tackle in the game last week. 56 yards. Kurt Springs recovered the fumble.
Here you see right here, Nat Moore will go straight down the field. The ball will be thrown to him. He'll get hit by 3 or 4 defensive backs for the Jets. Nat Moore right down the seam. Excellent throw. The ball comes out before he hits the ground. Johnny Ray is the recipient of the lateral. Ray already has 1 interception today. A couple years ago, big play man, hasn't done much lately.
Johnny Ray was a singer. This is Darrell Ray. At the Miami 37-yard line. Freeman McNeil to the 21-yard line.
See Nat Moore upset about the fumble. I think he's watching it. Watching the last offensive play of the Jets. He knows his fumble caused the turnover. The Jets are inspired. The crowd is in the ball game, Charlie. The Jet offense is doing what they can to keep it going.
17 yards from the 37 to the 20-yard line. The official spotted Miami territory. First down. Freeman McNeil plowing to the 13. Gain of 7. Second and 3. Ernie Rowan with the tackle.
That graphic right there tells you a story. The Jets taking the ball away 4 times from the Dolphins. Highly unusual for the Dolphins. The Jets wanted to get after it. Have done a very good job.
Second and 3. Johnny Hector, 8-yard line. First down, goal to go.
Mickey Schuler has really been invaluable to this club, Charlie, not only for his receiving, also his blocking. 82, turns it upfield. 75 is better. It's great block. Little crease. Hector gets up in there. 1st and 10 on the 8-yard line. The Jets have it going.
Away from Mike Charles, who tried to come over the top.
It was an option, pass or run. 1st and 8 on the 8. Not a bad call. If it's not open downfield, McNeil can always keep it and run it.
So we've seen McNeil run that option to the right and now to the left. And we still don't know what kind of arm he's got.
That's right. He's 0 for 0 right now.
0 for 0, that's right.
That's better than throwing it up and getting it intercepted. He's over there. You know what he's doing? He's over telling Bobby Hammonds, the backfield coach, the man was running the wrong route. He didn't get open. I like to throw it one time.
2nd down, goal to go. Still the 8-yard line. Walker cuts over the middle. Incomplete. Wesley was covered, though, as he went through the end zone. Mickey Schuler, the intended receiver.
Mickey Schuler. He just throws the ball too hard here. Dennison is 86. Schuler goes out, comes back in, just throws it a little bit too hard. Dennison trying to get to it, but...
Was he throwing to Dennison and Schuler didn't realize it?
No, he was throwing to Schuler, no question about that. He just threw it a little bit too hard for the situation.
3rd down, goal to go, 8-yard line. More than 10 minutes to go, 3rd quarter, 10-20. Johnny Hector are the setback.
Just checking off. Yep.
Was that the defense or was the crowd noise kind of bothering?
It was the defense. Dolphins were up there threatening blitz. He got out of it.
Don't take a chance. Timeout, and we'll be back. Well, Russell Carter, an ankle injury. They're taking X-ray. Report on Darrell Ray as a twisted foot. They'll check. He should return. 3rd down, goal to go. Intercepted by Lyle Blackwood. Schuler, the intended receiver.
And that was good coverage in the secondary by the Dolphins. They had a lot of people deep in the secondary. Ryan is looking to his left, comes back to his right, almost gets the sack, throws it over the short man. Blackwood just gets a piece of it, or it had been a touchdown for the Jets.
Now from the 15-yard line, an attempt of 25 yards by Pat Leahy. Leahy is hit from 32 in this ball game. The holder. And it's blocked. It is scooped up by Blackwood. No, by Kozlowski. And Miami takes over. William Judson with the block. There's been some innovations in football. We'll have one when we come back. Receiving helmet from Telex Communications. My quarterback, Bob Greasy, is on the field. He'll be talking to us through the helmet.
There's a microphone right here, and what the NFL is experimenting with is because of the rave cheer that's going around the National Football League, where the opposing team's crowd will cheer when the offense is on the field, especially in a dome stadium. Get this microphone here that the quarterback can have in his helmet, and the receivers will be able to hear him a little bit better when the cheering is been around. It's a good innovation. They're checking it out. They'll be testing it next year.
We, of course, taped that before the ball game. We'll be talking about that because the crowd is in it here. But right now, Miami has the ball following that blocked field goal attempt for their own 18-yard line. Reno to Duper. And Duper has the first down and is out of bounds at the 41-yard line. 23 yards on the play. Let's go back to that blocked field goal courtesy William Judson of the Dolphins.
From the right side, Judson, 49, comes through a gaping hole on the right side of the protection. It's a big block. It's a big block for the Jets. If they could have got out additionally 3 points, been 13-7.
And for New York, Darrell Ray is back in the secondary.
Charlie, there for a while, they had Ray out of the ball game. They had Carter out of the ball game, and Lynn is out. Carter is still out. They had 4 defensive secondary, none of them of which started the ball game.
Mark Duper has his of 4. Clifton with the tackle. 2nd and 6. Let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, in Seattle, Dave Brown has his second interception return for a touchdown. We don't know what that is exactly. Earlier, he had a 95-yard return, this time a 58-yarder on a pass thrown by Todd Blackledge. It is 38-0 Seattle. We'll straighten out our technical difficulties. Back to you.
And here the score, the Jets leading by 3, 10-7. Seattle with that great defense. And I tell you something, Franco Harris helped that ball club. And I'll tell you how right after this play. Pressure, Marino throws, it is low, it is incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 6 at the 45. In the first ball game, and I did that ball game, and that's the one that Kurt Warner was out for the year with a knee injury. That was the first game of the season. It was against Cleveland. They won it 33-0. Second ball game, they played San Diego. The whole city was down. They'd had a good preseason. They're excited. Kurt Warner, very exciting runner. Now, Franco Harris, they signed him that week. It lifted not only the team, lifted the whole city. They say, hey, we're ready. We're going to get something going. And they continue. Seattle's going to be a factor in the playoffs.
Certainly with the Dolphins, the Raiders, and the Denver, the Jets can get back in it here with a win. There'll be a big win for the Jets if they can pull this one out.
Because the reality is, you're right. They're going for a wild card spot just as Seattle is. Gastineau now on the other side. Defensive right in. And the Dolphins pick up the first down. As Marino goes to Nat Moore. He needed 6 and he got 9. The last 5 possessions for Miami: fumble, interception, interception. Halftime intercepted that one, and then a fumble.
I think you got to get a little bit of credit to the Jet defense too, Charlie, coming up with the fumbles and the interceptions and the pressure on Marino. That time, Gastineau right at his feet.
Matt Moore, 3 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Miami trailing by 3, first down, Jet 46. First down. This time it's Dan Johnson, the tight end. As Davlin Mullen makes the tackle, and he's going to, now he can pick apart his secondary that's missing some key people.
Well, they're missing their 2 most important people. That's their cornerbacks. When you have a Clayton on one side with 9 touchdowns and a Duper on the other side with 7, you need some good people covering those wide receivers. And their 2 corners are out of the ball game right now due to injury.
They marked it about half a yard shy of the first down, so it's second down, half a yard to go. Plecko has come out of the lineup, and he is checking his right hand. Here's the first down. Woody Bennett has it to the 35-yard line.
Woody Bennett carries.
Barry Bennett makes the tackle. Denver now trailing 13-12. Tony Franklin, a pair of field goals.
Boy, it's been a day of upsets, hasn't it, Charlie? We have one working here.
Elway is a touchdown pass. Elway has 2 and Easton has 1. New York, 35. Barry Bennett gets the sack. That is only his 2nd of the year, but it is the 2nd time that Marino has been sacked, and the 5th time this year that Marino has been sacked.
Good coverage in the secondary allows Bennett, number 78, to get to Marino. He beat number 61, Foster. Nobody was open in the secondary. Good coverage, good defense by the New York Jets.
Mark it at the 42-yard line, loss of 7, second down, 17. In first downs, Miami has 15 and the Jets have 8. The Jets have the lead, 10-7. 6 minutes, 51 seconds, time remaining, third quarter. All alone on the far side is Bruce Hardy. And then he is plastered out of bounds by Buttle and Mullins. Let's go to New York City.
Charlie, here's that play in Seattle as Dave Brown has his 2nd interception return for a touchdown. Earlier, he had a 95-yarder, this time a 58-yarder off a pass thrown by Todd Blackledge, who had replaced Bill Kinney. Seahawks now have 3 interception returns for touchdowns. It's 38-0 third quarter.
And here the score, the same. Jets 10, Miami 7. Plecko back in the ball game. The ball at the 32-yard line, gain of 10. Look at the yards passing.
Jets Jets take a timeout, Charlie. They were undecided on who they wanted in the ball game.
So we'll take a timeout with exactly 6 minutes to go in the third. Miami trying to move. We'll be back to see if they can do it. Use their second timeout in the second half. They have only one timeout remaining with 6 minutes to go in the third. Third down and 7. That's respect of the Dolphins offense and the problems they have in their secondary. People in the ball game. Miami with 4 wide receivers. 14-yard line, first down. Darrell Ray with a tackle, a gain of 18 yards on the play.
The Jets changed their strategy a little bit and blitzed. These 2 linebackers will come straight in. Duper will come from this side and catch the ball right here. Linebackers blitzing to get more pressure. Duper, the inside release. Good catch. A little surprised that the Jets blitzed, Charlie. They've been getting good pressure without it.
And you saw in the background that Darrell Ray slipped when he made his move. First down, 14-yard line, 10th play of the drive. Just a straight power shot up the middle by Woody Bennett as a couple of flags go flying. Tom Baldwin in the defensive line, a rookie from Tulsa taken in the 9th round of the draft, made the tackle holding against Miami.
Strange that the Dolphins are getting all these turnovers and penalties. In the 9 games up to this point, they have not gotten the critical and the crucial penalties at the wrong time.
Holding, number 57, offense. Repeat, first down.
John Dwight Stevenson, the center. Play goes to the 24-yard line. The penalty takes it to the 24-yard line. First down and 20. Jets had the penalties early on. Now they're beginning to catch up with the Dolphins. There's the Pro Bowling center, Dwight Stevenson. Here comes pressure. Tipped incomplete. Duper, the intended receiver. Let's go to New York.
All right, Charlie, Denver has pulled to within 1 now of New England. John Elway will stand in and hook up with Butch Johnson. The play covers 17 yards. A little moonwalk from Butch Johnson. I don't know how he does this, those cleats on. Rich Carlson missed his second extra point, so it's 13-12 New England.
Here the Jets continue to lead by 3. Second down and 20 at the 24.
Yesterday, Joe Gardy, defensive coordinator, said we have a few new wrinkles and surprises for Marino. That time, a little safety blitz was not blocked, got in his face, made him throw the ball very quickly.
The Dolphins have controlled the ball for the last 5 minutes and 2 seconds. They moved 59 yards in 10 plays from the shotgun. Here he is. He's open. And does a cartwheeling 360 in the air. Kurt Springs, 20 yards, is the man who hit Nat Moore.
This was unbelievable the way Nat Moore, right here, he'll go downfield and catch the ball here and then does his pirouette in the air. Unbelievable throw and catch by Nat Moore. Open, Marino sees the entire field and around he goes.
Oh, around and around. It's carousel time.
He caught one earlier, went up in the air like this and fumbled it. This time the Jets don't shake it loose. They had every reason to. Nat Moore just holds on with both hands.
Mark the ball at the 3-yard line. Moore, 4 receptions, 91 yards, and a touchdown. It is first down and goal to go. The spinning reception by Nat Moore.
That one to make the highlight films, won't it?
For weeks to come, it will make the pregame show, too. Isn't that wild? First down, goal to go. Bennett dives. Woody Bennett, the former New York Jet, acquired on waivers in 1980, scores. That is his 5th touchdown of the year, by the way.
You can see Marino checking off. He turned one way and turned the other way to make sure the tailback heard the call. He was given direction which way this toss was going to go. Decided he wanted to go left. Good effort by Woody Bennett. Floyd, 48, tries to string it out. Gets only a piece of him, and a good effort gets him into the end zone.
Miami leads now 13-10. Extra points to come by Uwe von Schaman. And it is good. The score, the Miami Dolphins 14, the New York Jets 10, with 4:21 left to go. We're in the third quarter in the Meadowlands. Don't go away. Now 14-10 as Uwe von Schaman will be kicking off to either Bobby Humphrey or Kirk Springs. Now they set up split. In the first half, they were playing a little guessing game. The Jets want Bobby Humphrey, who leads the NFL in kickoff returns, to be the return man, and here he is, 2 yards deep, and he can fly. And he's grounded, and a flag is down. While they check out the flag, let's check the scoreboard. We'll run down everything. Bears beat the Raiders. And the Bears still beat. Oh, here we go now. And the Giants over Dallas. That's a big one. You had to upset Sunday. San Diego. And they have all kinds of injuries, and they defeat the Colts. Overtime final. No scoring in the overtime, so it's a tie. 23-all.
Behind number
Pittsburgh over
74
Houston.
receiving team during the return.
Minnesota by 3 over Tampa Bay. Cleveland by 3 over Buffalo. Buffalo made it close. Green Bay over New Orleans by 10. Cincinnati by 7 in the fourth quarter over the 49ers. That's a big one. Now here comes New York from their own 8-yard line. Freeman McNeil to the 15. So he picks up 7. It'll be second down and 3. Bob Brzezinski with the tackle. We have 3 more scores. Fourth quarter. New England leading Denver by 4. St. Louis leading the Rams by 3. Third quarter. Seattle shutting out Kansas City in the third. And here it is, Miami 14, Jets 10. Freeman McNeil 93 yards in 12 carries. This may be that Sunday, that given Sunday they always talk about on any given Sunday. This is it, St. Gibbons Day. Freeman McNeil has the first down. A.J. Dewey with the tackle. 22-yard line, gain of 7.
A.J. Dewey, number 77, trying to string it out, takes on the guard, strings it out, gets over there, gets a piece of it. McNeil, I am very impressed with McNeil, Charlie. He is the bread and butter of the Jet offensive attack. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, can run it. They are number 7 in the National Football League running. If they're going to do anything, it's going to be on the ground first and then through the air. McNeil is a big clog in their attack.
Freeman McNeil, this is his 13th 100-yard game rushing. I'll finish that story in a moment. Here he comes again. 10 more to the 32, close to the first down. He may have it. Now coming into the game tied with Matt Snell for the most 100-yard games rushing club record for the Jets. Now he's out in front. Snell and Riggins is the men that he was tied with. And the change will come out. And Freeman is doing it with bad ribs and a sore elbow.
He's had some bad ribs all year, and now it's more the elbow, as we've said earlier, but the ribs seem to stay with you the longest. The rib injury, you can get a sprained ankle, well, but the ribs, you keep getting them banged up every week. They're going to be there all year.
First down, officially called the 33-yard line. Have tied it up, 13-all in the third. Johnny Hector and Marion Barber are the setbacks. Little play action. The pass was behind Lamb Jones. He put on the brakes and he couldn't stop the skidding. Langford had the coverage. It'll be second down 10.
We talk about a play-action pass a lot. The guard right here will block down. The 2 backs will come this way. Here's A.J. Dewey right here. Watch him. He does not step up in there very much. Normally he'd be up in there, but he's not. Play-action pass looking straight downfield. Lamb Jones makes a little move. The ball seems to be a little behind him.
Freezing the linebacker.
It's holding the linebacker.
to the 32, so he'll lose a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 11. Doug Betters and Bob Brzezinski make the tackle.
The line of scrimmage. Little play action like a draw, almost slips out of his hands. Now that timing of the play is all shot now. Once you lose that split second, his hole, if there was one there, is gone. All he can do is hold on and get down.
In the 4th quarter, Seattle still shutting out Kansas City. Ryan, pressure, and he's in the grass. Charles Bowser with the sack, his 2nd in the ball game, and the 4th for the Miami Dolphins. It'll be 4th down, and Chuck Ramsey will come on to catch. Do you sense the feel of the tide turning?
That's just what I was going to say, Charlie. The Dolphins had just scored. The Jets got the ball deep in their own, made a couple first downs, but didn't do anything with it. The Dolphins now have the momentum.
Good kick. Maybe what the Jets needed. Walker, 26-yard line. And he fights his way out to about the 32. A 50-yard kick by Chuck Ramsey, 7 yards on the return, and Rocky Kleber made the tackle for the Jets, and there was a flag dropped back at the 33-yard line. Holding against Miami. Be sure to join us next Sunday. More great NFL action on NBC Sports. Our featured games include 2 tough interdivisional battles at 12:30 Eastern Time. The Steelers meet the Bengals in a must-win game for Cincinnati. Cincinnati playing well today. 3:30 Eastern Time. Dan Fouts and the Chargers. Chargers won today. They'll take on the tough Denver Broncos. NFL 84 host Bob Costas starts today. He'll keep you posted on all the scores around the league.
On the receiving team during the kick. Penalty enforced from the spot where possession changed. 1st and 10.
Don't forget, your team plays here next Sunday on NBC Sports. And we'd like to take this quick little personal moment here to congratulate Sam Materio Jr., one of our NBC technicians. Getting married today. We got to talk to Sam. Got to talk to Sam. Way to go, Sam. Lovely lady. 17-yard line. Tony Nathan.
carries.
Mark Gastineau with the tackle.
Blocking up front, Dwight Stevenson double teaming on Glecko. Good run by the back because he went straight ahead, got the linebacker to step up to fill the hole, and then he bounced to the outside. Good run by, is it Carter?
Tony Nathan.
Who's Nathan?
42 yards for Tony, 6 carries. Just outside the 24-yard line, 2nd and 3, gain of 7. The pass is low. Dan Johnson, the intended receiver. So it'll be 3rd down. Officially, they mark it at the 25-yard line, so the official stats will show 3rd and 2.
Charlie, just to tell you how well, to show you how well the Jets defense has been playing in the last 2 games the Dolphins have played, they have had 6 drives of 10 plays or more. The last drive that the Dolphins had was the first one that they had. They had 10 series in this ball game, and the last one was the first one. They had it for 10 plays.
21 seconds, time remaining in the 3rd quarter. 3rd down and 2. A bobble on the exchange. On the handoff to Nathan, Joe Klecko, along with Ron Perot. Now that was 3rd and 2. We're in the countdown to the end of the quarter. And when we come back, as we take this look, it'll be 4th down. That is the end of the 3rd. The score, 14-10. Back after these messages from your local station.
News Center 7. Today's game is brought to you by International Harvester. Our commitment is forever. By exceptionally smooth Michelob. Where you're going, it's Michelob. And by the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
This is Charlie Jones, Bob Greasy. We're in the Meadowlands As we start the fourth, Reggie Roby will be kicking for the Miami Dolphins. Kirk Springs is set for the return. The Dolphins lead by 4, 14-10 over the New York Jets. Fair catch. Called for and taken at about the 27-yard line. A 48-yard kick by Reggie Roby. Let's look at the statistics. The numbers tell the story. Total yards, 396 for the Dolphins, 203 for the Jets. But you don't see 4 turnovers.
That's the story. That's why the game is close. The Jet defense taking the ball away, or the ineptness of the Dolphin offense.
Beginning of the fourth, the Jets now trailing. They led for a long period of time. Important drive.
I think it's an important drive, Charlie. They need to establish some kind of offense again to get back in the flow of the game.
Play action. Quick screen. Wesley Walker. 34-yard line. Gain of 6. Second down and 4. Charles Bowser takes him out of bounds. Fourth quarter, Cincinnati in front of the 49ers, 17-13. Ray Wersching has had a pair of field goals. Kenny Anderson a touchdown pass. Montana has had a touchdown pass.
Second and 4.
Wesley Walker, 4 receptions, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Second and 4 following that gain of 6. Schuler in motion. Freeman McNeil, no surprise there. Needed 4, he got 2 to the 36. It'll be third down and a couple. Doug Betters with the tackle.
This was supposed to be a little short trap in the middle of the formation, Charlie. Bob Baumar does a good job of just stuffing it in there, and nothing was advanced. But McNeil likes to get in there in the quick traps. That time it was very tough. Baumar, 73, is double teamed, but he fights through the double teams, splits it, and gets in there on part of the tackle.
Third down and 2. Schuler in motion. Play action. A third and 2. He's there, and he's got it. Lamb Jones, first down. 47-yard line. New York territory, gain of 9. Gain of 11.
Short yardage play action. There's the fake. It's a tough throw. Not a very good spiral, but it gets there. Lamb Jones, with that great leaping ability, makes the play. A big first down at this juncture of the ball game for the Jets. They got some confidence. They need to keep it going. Let's see if they throw coming back out. First down. Last time they threw the ball on first down, a little quick screen.
Freeman McNeil, 3 yards to the 50-yard line behind the lead block of Mickey Schuler. Charles Bowser with the tackle. Second down and 7.
Great battle in the middle. The 2 All-Pros, Joe Fields, 65, Baumar, 73. Looks like a little holding maybe by Fields with his left hand.
Second and 7.
That's where the whole thing starts, Charlie. The whole defense starts, or the offensive running play starts. If you can control the nose tackle, then you can usually get something done.
Second down and 7, 50-yard line. Looking to Schuler, throwing to Schuler. Bobbled it, incomplete.
Right is incomplete.
Rudzinski with the coverage.
Coverage on the play by Bob Rudzinski.
Schuler is 82. He does a lot of the moving back and forth. This changes the formation and sometimes the coverage. 59 is Brzezinski. Now he has to get out there and cover him. Ball was right in his numbers, knocked it down.
And you notice when the ball kind of bounced up, he didn't want to take a chance of an interception. Left hand went up and just we'll get rid of that one.
Got the ball. It's a good heads-up play by Schuler.
Third down and 7. Pat Ryan, 10 of 21, 112 yards throwing and a touchdown. Walker in motion. Walker's open. Throwing back underneath. It'll be incomplete. Lamb Jones did not have possession when he came down. It would have been right at the first down marker, too.
Fourth and 7.
So it's fourth down and 7, and Chuck Ramsey will be kicking. Still more than 13 minutes to go.
Ball was in and out. There's Schuler, 82. Let's see if he's like a little holding. I don't know if Schuler was holding Kozlowski or it was the opposite way, but had some hands out there.
Fulton Walker is set for the return. Ramsey's average on the game, 39.6. Going to Tony Page, first down.
But also the offensive, defensive players for the Jets. Little surprise, Joe Walton is not afraid to do some things that are maybe a little bit not down the middle. He's got a very conservative offense with a lot of running, but he's also not afraid to do the flea flickers and the fake punts.
Second time they have used the fake punt. They used it in Buffalo, and Tony Page picked up 22 yards on that one. Second down and 4, 20-yard line, 11 minutes, 39 seconds, time remaining in the game. Pressure, Ryan stands in. Is it caught? They're going to rule yes. Glenn Dennison, 7 yards. Langford was there. They needed 4. It's a first down. And the Jets are fired up. First down at the 13.
Joe Walton calls all the plays from the sideline. He'll send them in with the runner, but Bobby Hammond will send in the formation. Now, the reason Hammond sends in the formation because the Jets use multiple offenses. 3 tight ends, 2 tight ends, 3 backs, 2 backs. So when he splashes in the formation, they know who to get out of the ball game and who to get in.
Freeman McNeil. Glenn Blackwood with the tackle, a yard to the 12, second down and 9. New England leading Denver 19-12 in the fourth quarter.
New England playing tough for their new coach, Raymond Berry.
Pat Ryan has completed 11 of 23 for 119 yards. Touchdown pass to Wesley Walker. Freeman McNeil has rushed for 122 yards, 18 carries. Usually carries the ball usually around 20 times a game. 11th play of the drive. Ryan is there. Schuler, 6-yard line. Blackwood and Bowser with the tackle. Third down and 3.
Ryan has good protection. You're seeing now with the defensive back see, Schuler made a little move to the outside, came back inside, caught the ball, got low. It'll be about 3rd and 1 for the first down, 3rd and 2.
Second reception for Mickey Schuler. He has 18 yards. And Don Shula wants a timeout. We'll take a timeout. 9:35 left to go. Don't go away. This one has a long time left. Meaning, what happened is the play was late coming in from the sideline. Shula then was just signaling to his players that there was a timeout on the field.
With all the situation substitution going on, and Joe Walton wants to get the right players in the game at the right time, that's why he signals the formation ahead of time so the players know who is in and who is out, and then the player coming in the ball game will bring the play in with him. That time, they got fouled up, but that's one of the problems with all this situation substitution.
Here's the time of the drive. It's still going on. 3rd down and 3 at the Miami 6. What do you call here?
I think you go to Schuler. He's your bread and butter.
Number 82. Freeman McNeil. McNeil's got it.
confidence that Joel Walton has in Freeman McNeil to hand him the ball. 3rd and 3 on the whatever the yard line. Important time of the ball game. Gets in for the touchdown.
From the 6, Freeman McNeil now 128 yards rushing, 19 carries and a touchdown. The score is 16-14. The Jets by 2 with the extra point to come. Why the delay?
I don't know if there was a flag on the play or if they're discussing something.
There was a delay, that's all that we can report at this time. Pat Leahy to attempt the point after to make the margin 3 points. It's good. Jets lead 17-14, 9:31 left to go. The key to the game for the Jets would be to control the ball.
One of the ways was Freeman McNeil. When he gets over 100 yards, the Jets usually win. Not only rushing, but passing the ball. He's been a big factor in the ball game today.
Not flashy, they just work it out. Here's Fulton Walker from the 1 to the 10. And is brushed to the 19, 18 yards on the return. Bobby Humphries is the man who made the tackle. Check of the scoreboard. Cincinnati now by 1 over the 49ers in the 4th quarter.
They're creeping up.
They'll mark it at the 20-yard line. Has Marino been in this situation before? Can you recall?
No, he hasn't, Charlie. Not this year anyway. Of course, they've been ahead. It's a difficult situation for any quarterback, but this is one of the ones he has faced and yet to face, and one of the ones he's got to overcome.
Tony Nathan. 9 yards to the 29. Greg Buttle and Mark Gastineau with the tackle. 2nd down and 1.
To the right side, a big gaping hole. 64 is Ed Newman, and 74 Cleveland Green with a good block on Gastineau. Dolphins need to move the football.
Just back for a moment to that 49ers game. Cincinnati leading by 1. Ray Wershing, 3 consecutive field goals at 17-16. Play action. Quick screen, far side, Duper. 39-yard line. Gain of 10. George Floyd knocked him out. It is, of course, the first down. Again, that secondary has Kirk Springs, Darrell Ray, George Floyd, and Davlin Mullen. Johnny Lynn is out. Russell Carter out with an ankle. Mark Duper, 6 receptions, 142 yards. So the Jets secondary...
You got to say it's a patchwork.
It is.
Secondary at this point.
Duper, 6 receptions, 142. That's why they call him Super. And the 4th time this year that he's been over 100 yards. Tony Nathan. New York 47-yard line. 14 yards on the play. First down, Greg Buttle with the tackle. This is the quick strike offense we expected to see from the Dolphins.
99, Gastineau is double covered late by almost gets her touch. Dwight Stevenson, 57, was coming out, but he dumped it off to Nathan. Nathan didn't know where to stay and block or release. They had it set up during the week where sometimes he'd stay and sometimes he'd release. That time he didn't stay, dumped the pass. Good gain for the Dolphins.
Jets need a big play. They need it from Gastineau. Jets lead 17-14. Good protection. Going all alone. Defender fell down. Flag on the play. Flag on the play. Davlin Mullen fell down. Mark Clayton, 47 yards. If it stands up, flag back at the 46. point is good. The score shifts to the other side. Miami leads again by 4, 21-17. Mark Clayton, his 10th touchdown of the season. Said quarters, Miami first, third, and fourth. Jets first, second, and fourth. 21-17. Uwe von Schamann kicking off to either Bobby Humphrey or Kirk Springs. It'll be Humphrey. Has a little opening. Flag is down. Another flag is down. 24, maybe 25-yard line. Bud Brown was there. It's now tied. New England 19 and Denver 19. John Elway to Butch Johnson for 5 yards to tie it up in the fourth. Here's a pair of quarterbacks out of the famous class of '83.
Tony Eason, John Elway.
The penalty against the Jets.
Joe Walton and Bobby Humphreys on the sideline. Walton was telling us yesterday he feels a lot more comfortable.
Illegal low block. Number 59 receiving team during the return.
On the rookie Kyle Clifton of TCU.
First and 10.
The ball on the 10-yard line, first down.
I'll get back to that.
Freeman McNeil is the remaining back. Play action. Going deep. And overthrowing Wesley Walker. Pretty good coverage on Walker, though. He couldn't break away from the two defenders.
Good coverage by Paul Langford, no question about it. Getting back to what we were saying about Joe Walton and talking to him yesterday, he said if he made any mistake last year, it was not changing the Jets. He said the year before in '82 they were in the championship game against the Dolphins, and he didn't really, as his first year as a head coach, want to do a lot of changes. This year he realized that he can't stand still. You've got to make changes, and the one thing he wanted was competition in training camp. He made some roster moves, got rid of some people, and talked to every man on the squad and said every job in this camp is going to be competitive and open.
Second down and 10, 10-yard line. Report on Mike Charles. Brusney will now return. Kim Bocamper is into that defensive end for Miami as Freeman McNeil searches for a little room and doesn't find but 3 yards. It'll be third down and 7. Now the Jets, I would expect them to throw there, but they like to go against the tendencies, hope they can break one up the middle.
Well, you don't know, but the way their offense has been playing, it's third and 7. It's in a dangerous area of the field. 7 minutes to go in the ball game. I would think they would go with a safe pass or maybe a quick trap up the middle.
And a chance to look at a comparison of the two quarterbacks, Dan Marino and Pat Ryan. Third down 7, 13-yard line. Miami leads 21-17. Ryan steps forward, waits too long, he's sacked. 5th time that he's been sacked, Bocamper. And he had some help. And Chuck Ramsey will be punting. 6 minutes, 43 seconds, time remaining.
Ryan sprints a little bit to his left. They do that so the protection will be a little bit better. He was looking downfield. None of his receivers were open. Took the sack.
Ramsey will be kicking. It's high, it is short. Fulton Walker calls for a fair catch at the 46-yard line in New York territory. A punt of only 37 yards. We'll be back. The Dolphins will have the ball, and they have the lead. 6:21 left to go. Now the Jets have to get something. They have to do something.
The Dolphins have good field position. What the Jet defense needs to do is come up with a turnover or stop them to get the ball back to their offense. Ideally, you'd like to blitz in this situation, but with the defensive secondary, the Jets being banged up, I don't know if they'll do that. They may put it on Gastineau.
The ball at the 46-yard line of New York. Reno throws on target, first down, 33-yard line. Now the one thing the Jets cannot allow Miami to do, as they pick up a quick 13 here, is to score.
If you allow them to score, then you're going to be in deep trouble because the Jet offense is not a high-powered, quick-strike offense. It's more methodical, control-the-ball type of offense.
Duper, 7 receptions, 156 yards. They mark it the 32-yard line, so it goes for 14. Dolphins 21, Jets 17, 5:45 left to go. Miami trying to make it a perfect 10-0. Tony Nathan, 30-yard line, gain of a couple. Second down and 8. The Jets, their record is 6-3.
After a slow first half, Marino has really come back and played well. He's throwing over 350 yards. He's really brought this club back in the second half.
Don't forget, on NBC tonight, Silver Spoon, Spunky Brewster, Knight Rider, the world premiere movie, The Cartier Affair. All, of course, following the football. Knocked away, Greg Butler. Could that have been the big play they needed?
That was
It'll be
almost
third
the
and
big
8.
play, and Buttle is one of them that can make the big play. Buttle is right here, number 51. He's going to drop back in this zone. They're going to try to get the ball to Clayton on and out. Watch Buttle as he drops deep. Linebackers didn't used to be able to get this deep. He sees the pattern, recognizes it, and almost comes up with the play.
Miami has converted only 1 of 10 third down opportunities. Now, coming in the ballgame, they've converted 52% of them. And here it is, third down and 8. Flags are down. Pass is complete to Nat Moore. It'll be a first down, but while we sort out the flags and maybe a gain of 14, let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, in San Francisco, the 49ers have battled back and taken the lead against Cincinnati. Joe Montana, 4 yards to Freddie Solomon, who makes a nice grab. It is 23-17 now. San Francisco with about a minute and a half left.
Well, they've been scratching and clawing in that ballgame just like we have here.
Defense, penalty decline, first and 10.
The ball marked at the 16-yard line. As we pause briefly for station identification, this is the NBC television network.
And this is your hometown station, WSVN, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
It was my fault. I started to continue. We needed to give you that little break. Nat Moore, 4 receptions, 91 yards. We'll update. We got a lot of stats, maybe too many. We'll sort them out. Pick out the good ones. Here's Woody Bennett over the top. 4:40 and counting, time remaining.
I was just going to comment, Charlie, on that last third down possession. Marino goes to the veteran Nat Moore. He's a veteran in the ball club. He was put down. Clayton and Duper are the starting wide receivers, getting all the attention. Nat Moore is probably playing his last season for the Dolphins, but yet when it gets crucial, he comes in and makes the big plays. 5 receptions, 105 yards for the veteran.
And the touchdown. And that touchdown, his 5th of the year and the 60th in his career. Buttle almost ever so close. Dan Johnson, the intended receiver.
51 is Buttle. If he could have caught this one, the Jets may have been ahead because he had nothing but open field in front of him. Greg, you need to try it with 2 hands, buddy.
And he said, I got as close as I could.
The quarterbacks, they know when it's safe to throw in the area, those linebackers. He's probably got 5 knuckles that are out of joint from grabbing and pulling and playing that defensive linebacker spot. It's hard to catch those balls one-handed.
Third down and 6, 12-yard line. Reno's in trouble. He's throwing this one away. The referee, Gordon McCarter, went down in the melee. The Jets are arguing that he's got to throw a flag for intentional grounding. He didn't see it. If you don't see it, you can't call it. The other officials are saying there was nobody near, that there was no question. They have to call a flag, but McCarter was at the bottom of the stack.
Here's Nat Moore right here. The Y was sacked. He comes in here, and his back is all over him. Watch Nat Moore, and the coverage will be all over him. Right there, now he tries to come back.
so far away to the sideline that he was trying to stop the clock. That's unrealistic. Miami wants the clock to run.
Just to your left, right there, Gordon McCarter is trying to protect the quarterback. Down McCarter goes. Now he's worried about his own life right there. He's not worried about a sack or Marino or anything. He's worried about falling as safely as he can fall.
From the 20, an attempt of 30 yards. Uwe Shaman has hit only 1 of 10 on field goals of 30 yards or more, and he has missed from 44 in this game. And he's got this one from 30 yards away. That makes the score 24-17. So the margin is 7. It was 4. So we're going to stay right here with it. It means that the Jets can tie and we go to overtime.
3 minutes, 56 seconds to go. Plenty of time for the Jets to get back in the ball game.
Little change of plans. Let's have an update. We'll go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, in Denver, the Broncos have turned it around against New England. Mosi Tatupu fumbles. Dennis Smith comes up with the ball. He will go 69 yards the other way for a touchdown. The 7th touchdown of the year by the Denver defense. It is 26-19 now with 54 seconds left at Mile High Stadium.
And here we have 3:56 left at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands. Miami 24-17. They'll be talking about and writing about the Nunn flag, the flag that was not thrown.
Joe Walton is giving a good talking to Dean Look, the back judge, and he says, the Look was saying, I was way back in the backfield looking for pass interference. Don't talk to me. Joe doesn't think it's too funny.
And it's not, because it was a play on which I really believe if the referee had not been caught in the foul, he would have called it. He would have dropped the flag for intentional grounding. Bobby Humphrey and Kirk Spriggs. Kirk Spriggs is running it out. He's to the 10, 15. Doesn't quite get to the 20. Takes a couple of good licks at the 18-yard line. Odell Thomas was there, and Jim Jensen. It's still strange to see number 11, a quarterback's number, down on a special team, and one of the Dolphins shaken up.
Eddie Hill.
Eddie Hill. And Seattle continues to shut out Kansas City, 45-0, fourth quarter. The AFC West is liable to end up, it's a shootout all the way. It could end up in a three-way tie.
We have Denver, the Raiders, and Seattle.
And San Diego just trying to get back into it. Earlier today, I've got a report. Now listen to me. I was just handed this. We'll both learn it at the same time. Earlier today, there was some confusion regarding whether John Henry will run in the Breeders' Cup. Wire service reports indicate that he will be scratched. Now, he'll be scratched late in the week, so stay tuned for the continuing saga of the Breeders' Cup. We do not know whether he's going to run or not at this point. So there's still that possibility. We don't want to build up your hopes too much. There's a possibility that he might not run. We will know for sure next Saturday at the Breeders' Cup at Hollywood Park, because when they go in the gate, if John Henry is there, he's going. That is now a final. Denver 26 and New England 19. So Denver will continue to lead in the West.
Denver is really a surprise team this year. Their defense and their offense, statistically, yardage-wise, is not that highly rated.
Here's the final score. Denver 26.
We would like to welcome those of you who have been watching the New England-Denver game. Here the score with 3 minutes and 44 seconds remaining. Miami 24 and the New York Jets 17. Dan Marino has thrown for 422 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The best year he has had, or the best game he has had, is 429 yards. He's at 422 now. We've got another final, San Francisco and Cincinnati. The Bengals really hung in on that one, though. Now the Jets, what could they do? It's been a seesaw battle. Jets have played a great game. Bryant fires right into the arms of the defender. Glenn Blackwood hit him on the numbers. And we would like to welcome those of you who have been watching watching the Cincinnati-San Francisco game. No, it was 77. It was A.J. Dewey.
A.J. Dewey, that was the easiest interception he'll ever have. Ryan dropping back. The Dolphins are just right in the zone. Linebackers drop straight back. I don't know how he can not see A.J. Dewey unless an offensive lineman and defensive lineman blocked his vision. But that ball hit A.J. right between the two numbers.
One of the things, now we mentioned this earlier in the telecast, is that number 77, A.J. Dewey, they move him around to confuse the offense.
I didn't see whether he was down in the line and then came out or not.
The ball at the 19-yard line of New York, first down. Here's Woody Bennett. Fumble. Coming out is Ken Schroy with the ball. Ron Farrow was there, but they're going to mark the ball at the 14-yard line. And Miami retains possession, gain of 5.
There's no question, but that what the Jets need at this point is a turnover, a fumble. The first man slows the runner down. The second one goes for the ball to try and get it on the ground.
Moving on the 3-minute mark, time remaining. Miami 24, Jets 17. First quarter tied 7-7. Jets at halftime, 10-7. Miami after 3, 14-10. Woody Bennett, and a flag is down. In the fourth quarter, New York moved 72 yards on a drive and went out in front, 17-14. Miami back out in front. We'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the Kansas City-Seattle game. This is Charlie Jones along with Bob Greasy.
Number 61, offense, repeat, second down.
Here are the score, the Miami Dolphins 24, the New York Jets 17. And the Dolphins' last 4 possessions, they've scored on 3 of the 4. And at the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half, it was very shaky, 4 turnovers.
Well, they had a very slow first half. Marino statistically had a pretty good first half, but had the 2 turnovers, the 2 interceptions, has really played well the second half.
2 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions by the Jets defense. Second down and 15 following the penalty. Knocked away and a flag will go down. There was bumping. Devlin Mullen bumped him. Mark Clayton, the intended receiver.
Devlin Mullen, number 20, pretty good coverage. If anybody pushed off, it may have been Clayton, but good coverage by Mullen, who is filling in. Just going to run straight down the field, one-on-one coverage. Everybody else is away from the play. It's tough coverage for Mullen, who is subbing for Johnny Lynn, who's injured, but normally Clayton will go up and try to make that catch, leap up into the air. He's done it several times this year already.
And with pass interference called to the 3-yard line, it will be first down and goal to go. And for those that have joined us late, the Jets very thin in the secondary because of what has happened not only today but early in the season.
Well, both their corners have been hurt today. They had some injuries coming into the game in the backfield.
First down, goal to go. Pete Johnson. One bright spot, the Jets have set a new Meadowlands attendance record of 72,655. Kyle Clifton with the tackle. Mark it just inside the 2-yard line. It's second down, goal to go. 2:23 and counting. Time remaining in the game. And the Jets do not have any timeouts remaining.
Don Shula looking up at the game clock and then also the 30-second clock to see if his team needs to run a play or not. Obviously, he decided that he didn't and got the word to Marino.
So he could take the countdown to the 2-minute warning. Well, it could still happen, but I tell you what we're going to see right now, and that is another of those fantastic finishes.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes. 1981, quarterback Richard Todd, his injured ribs ache. His Jets trail the Dolphins with time for one more drive. He hits Jerome Barkham. He nails Lamb Jones. Todd is hot and Don Shula knows it. Less than 20 seconds left. Bingo, the game winner to Barkham. Todd completes passes to 7 different receivers, and the Jets win 16-15.
Don Shula looking on from the sideline, breathing it. You know, it's been one of those evenings. This is Charlie Jones, Bob Greasy.
Had some tough road trips. They went up to New England and beat New England for only the second time in 9 years, and beat Pittsburgh earlier this year when they hadn't won in Three River Stadium for 4 years. 4 times they'd been there. So coming up here and beating the Jets, it's been a tough ball game.
Jets have played well. There's no question about it. And barreling in is Pete Johnson. Pete Johnson now weighing a sleek 249 pounds.
Came into camp, or when he was traded to the Dolphins, came to their camp weighing 267, has worked out twice a day, runs in the morning, works out with a team in the afternoon, has got it down to 249. Shula keeps reminding him that when he was in the Pro Bowl, Shula coached the Pro Bowl, and Johnson was there. He played at 250, and he looked very good.
30-17. Pete Johnson, 3 carries, 2 yards, and a touchdown. That is his 6th touchdown with the Dolphins, his 9th on the year. And it curves through. That makes it 31-17 with 1:57 left, Bob.
Straight ahead block, and Pete Johnson just pushes everybody in the end zone. When you weigh 249 pounds and you've got some offensive linemen helping you already, I don't guess it's too hard to push the rest of them in the end zone.
And he pushed him for his 79th career touchdown. 31-17. Could we have a fantastic finish?
Joe Walton's done a good job with this ball club. He has really gotten them enthusiastic. All he wants is a lot of concentration, a lot of hard work. He wants them to be enthusiastic, and he wants them to go out there and play hard all the time. If you do that, good things will happen.
And the New York Jets will have to do it with no timeouts remaining. Total offense, you saw. Bobby Humphrey and Kirk Spriggs are set to return the kickoff of Uwe von Schaman. Total offense, Miami 518 yards, the New York Jets 284. You look at the statistics, and you said it wasn't that close a ball game, but it has been a close ball game. 4 turnovers by the Dolphins. Here's Humphrey, 6 yards deep. He bobbles it, he'll down it. They'll start at the 20-yard line. And as we are winding down here, we have an opportunity to thank so many people involved in the telecast. The executive producer, NBC Sports, is Michael Weissman. The coordinating producer of NBC Football, Ted Nathanson. Today's telecast has been produced by George Finkel and directed by Andy Rosenberg. Brian Russo, our technical director. Mike Albert, Dan Regan, Ross Schneiderman, our 2 spotters, and our chief statistician for our ball game here. So New York with 1:57 remaining, a first down on their own 20-yard line. 31-17. And no timeout. Excellent camera work. Thank you, gentlemen. On a very cool evening at the Meadowlands. We had a great crew. And I think the telecast lived up to the ball game. Good ball game. Ryan setting up deep. And it is intercepted by Paul Langford as Langford picks it up and goes out of bounds. And if there was a question remaining, it does not remain any longer.
Well, this is a great catch by Langford, a one-handed catch. He kind of pulls it in himself. He's got, look at the gloves he has on. There's those skin diver gloves.
Do you have one here? Can we swing a camera around?
If there's ever any question that a man can catch a ball
Look at this.
with a skin diver glove on,
That's exactly what he has on. Look at this.
this is what he will see a replay of it first. He sticks his left hand up in the air, grabs the ball with one hand and pulls it in himself. Well, this is the type of glove that he's wearing. This is the normal golf glove that a lot of the players have been wearing, but this is a thick glove that
Rubber.
skin divers, thick rubber, and the players have been telling me all week that hey, the traction is good on these gloves. And I said, you couldn't sell me on it.
Did that sell you on it?
Sell me on it.
All right.
Of course.
That's a skin diver's glove, right?
Skin diver's glove, and you can pick up a penny off of a countertop with it. It's good, but the problem inside the glove, your fingers kind of slide in it, but Langford didn't slide that time.
Pete Johnson carrying there. The Jets have no timeouts. We've mentioned that. We reiterated. So now all that Miami has to do is either run Pete Johnson or fall on the ball and let the clock run. It's over.
Well, the Jets Jets will be 6-4 after this ball game. They're really vying for a wild card position for the AFC. They do not have a tough schedule the rest of the way. They play Miami once and the Giants one time, and the rest of their games, they have games against 2 0-9 teams going into today and 2 3-6 teams going into today, plus the Dolphins in Miami and also the Giants. So their schedule really is favoring them.
So there is the wild card spot. They still have a shot at it.
They have 4 losses. They can't afford to lose too many more, but I think 5 losses will get you into the playoffs.
That is the final now, 16-13. And of course, it's a perfect 10 for the Dolphins. Their record is 10-0. Next week, Miami will be hosting Philadelphia, and the Jets will host the Colts. Marino, 22 of 41, throwing for 422 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Duper, 6 receptions, 142 yards. Moore, 5 receptions, 105 yards and a touchdown. So, Marino the Magnificent and the Miami scoring machine continues on the perfect season. And Freeman McNeil of the Jets, 20 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown.
Marino continues to show that he's magnificent. He also shows he is human. Makes a couple mistakes, throws a couple bad passes, but he's still the class of the league.
And once again, the final score, Miami 31, New York Jets 17. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Dan Marino and the Dolphins are threatened, but they rally to win, and part of it, this 47-yard touchdown pass from Marino to Mark Clayton. Marino's touchdown pass total now 29 for the year, and they win it in come-from-behind fashion, 31-17. This is the Budweiser NFL Report, brought to you by Budweiser.